even see me. I'm the threat of family fire. And as long as your guns aren't stored securely, I'll be there. Protect your family. Secure all your guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sactown Sports 1140.
The Carmichael Dave Show.
He's on the microphone when he's not on the microphone. He's playing a song, and when he's not playing a song, he's on the microphone, and then boom!
With Jason Ross.
No, he didn't. Yes, he. My goodness. So we're going to talk about the Kings a little bit later. 49ers, we're going to talk about them, but obviously this is a season-defining game for right now. Last week was season-defining game part one. We always have these games of the year, games of the century. Well, this weekend, we can call them the hated Seattle Seahawks. They're coming down here and with their 13th man or whatever, the 12th man or whatever that nonsense is. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Of course, college football quarterfinals. We had Miami, Ohio State on Wednesday. Yesterday, we had the three games that were the two games. The first two games were kind of dull. I mean, it just, you had the Orange Bowl. I'm not used to seeing the Orange Bowl starting at 9 a.m. Pacific, Kyle. I mean, that's a night game.
A couple of years ago, didn't they have the Fiesta Bowl starting at like 9 a.m. or something?
Yeah, it's just, why are they doing this to us? Why are they taking traditional games that are usually at night and there's a certain magical quality to them and doing that?
Well, the Rose Bowl is telling you, we don't care about your playoff. We will be playing at 1:30 on New Year's Day with our silly parade where it's pouring rain. We will be doing it every year at that time.
Boy, there's no question about it. I've had the great fortune of going to a number of Rose Bowls and covering one. And as a guy who went to USC, there's something magical about that game. And then just seeing rain and seeing tarp on the field, that was a little bit different. But we had that game, which was an Indiana blowout. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Texas Tech. The vaunted offense, they averaged 42 points a game, 482 yards per game, and they did nothing. Did absolutely nothing. And then the game of the quarterfinals was Ole Miss, Georgia. We'll get to that as well. We have all kinds of goodies coming your way, maybe a giveaway a little bit later on. But it's January 2nd. Do I have the honor of doing the first Sactown sports show for 2026?
That you do.
That's fantastic. So let's just hope that, I don't screw the whole thing up.
I guess technically yes, because we did have game night yesterday for the Kings, but live and local programming, 6 a.m., yes. You are the first voice that Sacramento hears on this station for 2026.
I'll add to that, Kyle, for better or for worse, I'm the first voice for 2026. Well, so today's January 2nd. Yesterday was New Year's Day, and of course, some simple math and looking at a calendar, the day before that was New Year's Eve. And I thought, kind of keeping with the flow of what Dave does here and kind of talks about some different things, I thought maybe I can enlighten this great audience into what really goes on in Times Square. Because I lived in New York City many, many years. I lived in Greenwich Village. I lived on the Upper West Side. I lived in Queens. For those of you that know New York, I was at the last stop on the N train, Ditmars Boulevard, heavy Greek community. I'm Greek, so it all worked out beautifully. But when you're watching, you've watched the ball drop before, right?
I feel like you have to.
You have to, right? You got to watch the ball drop. So the ball is on top of a building that sits right on 42nd Street, and Broadway comes down at one angle, and 7th Avenue comes down at another angle. And pre-COVID, they just let everybody in there. There were upwards of 1.5 million or 2 million people, not all right in Times Square, which kind of goes from 42nd to around 49th Street, 49th Street. You have people on the side streets that don't see anything. They can't. When you're on the side streets, that's where all the Broadway theaters are. You can't see anything. But now, after COVID, they have those metal police barricades, and they limit it to a couple of 100,000 people. So when you're watching, whatever channel you happen to be watching on, you're watching guys and gals, and they all look like you, Kyle. They're all great looking, right? They're young, and they're excited, and they're wearing festive hats and boas.
Which are also now sponsored.
Yes, exactly.
Because there's nothing sacred left anymore. I see the hats are sponsored, the ball drop is sponsored, all of it.
I'm ready to sponsor my daughters. If I can make a little extra money for college for them, that's another story for another time. But you're right. You're watching all that, and you see them. They're all arm in arm, and they're laughing and this and that. Let me tell you what really goes on there, because I've done it once, and I can tell you, I'm not going to bury the lead, that after I got back to my apartment down off of West 4th Street, right in the heart of Greenwich Village, I would have rather taken the express elevator to hell than be in that environment. When you go in there, it used to be, I don't know how they do it now, but it used to be they let everybody in at about 6 a.m. And people would start pouring in, and they'd look for a good spot. Well, there's really any spot in Times Square, as long as you're not on one of the side streets, is a good spot. They're all good spots. And so you go in, and the people start to fill in, and they fill in, and they fill in, and then once they're filled in, that's it. You're not moving. And when I say you're not moving, I mean you're not moving. You're like this. You can't go anywhere. So a lot of people come in. They've got their various beverages with them, their choices of, sometimes it's a soda, more times it's not. They've got some food stuffed in their pockets. Sometimes coming along the sides of the street, you'll see vendors coming along. Hot dog carts, maybe kebab carts, sweets carts and stuff. And, where hot dogs are normally a couple of bucks, suddenly it's $8 and so on. But you're standing there, and for those who have been indulging before they get there, when you indulge in a lot of beverage, what is the next thing that generally you have to do?
Go to the bathroom.
That is correct, Kyle. That is correct. You need to use the facility. And when you are in, when they let you in, you no longer can leave. If you leave, you will not get back in. And they let you know that when you get in there. So what happens is you get in, you're standing there, and you're standing there like a soldier, like a nutcracker, from the ballet. And, you're talking, and you move gently to try to talk to people. People think I'm kidding, but I'm not. You're not moving anywhere. And the need to use a facility happens, and there are no facilities. There are none. Even when you're walking around New York City, unlike if you're going in Sacramento or in Fresno or in LA or San Francisco or wherever, generally, correct me if I'm wrong with Sacramento, generally you can go into a restaurant and say, hey, can I use your men's room? And that's not a problem, right? I mean, generally.
I'm not sure I would do it, but it seems more normal.
Seems okay. Not so in New York. You go in, and they have giant signs. And if you've been to New York, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the big fancy restaurants because you're not going to try it with those. But some of the diners and stuff, you'll see signs as you walk in that say, no public restrooms. And they're serious. If they see you walk in without getting a table, whatever, they're just forget about it. So you're stuck. So as I told my colleagues at my station down in Fresno, as we approached New Year's Eve, they said, well, what do you do? And I said, well, you make a do. And I'm going to try to be, knowing that there are people right now having some coffee, maybe a piece of bacon, some eggs. I want to keep this as fresh as possible without going too far. Generally what happens is the audibles that people call when they need to use a facility happens right there. And it's not pleasant. You have people that are doing that everywhere. And what you realize is this is happening around you, and it's only 9:30 in the morning. And you've got another 14 or so hours before the ball drops. And now I'm not breaking news here. There were stories on all the major networks about what people are doing now to counter that. And it's, what they're wearing and so on and so forth. And it's just not very pleasant. So it's not at all what it looks like when you're watching on TV, because they're very careful with the camera shots. They're very careful. You have people doing that. And then what else happens sometimes when you drink too much alcohol? Maybe what, Kyle?
You might get a little irritable. Let's call it that. You might get a little irritable. And then one of a couple of things happens. Either you get irritable in the sense that you take out a little frustration on some people around you. That happens. And that's when the police, the cops generally New York police officers are pretty cool, but they don't want to be there. They want to be with their families. And generally, a lot of them are going to look the other way. They don't want to be, come on, man, what are you doing? I don't want to break this up. And you get a lot of that. But you get people removed, or you get irritable stomachs. And then that happens, as we understand what that is. Either direction or specifically the mouth.
Specifically the mouth.
Got it.
But either direction. And so these are the things that happen. And every time I tell folks about this who've never been there, they immediately think I'm making it up. But I'm not making it up. You can't make this up. And so when you start getting to that magical moment when the ball drops, and I forget, it's 60 seconds. I forget if it's 37 feet, 40 feet. I forget how many feet it is. It was a new ball this year. Yay.
Again, with a sponsor.
Of course. Everything, even the rope that is, everything is sponsored, always. The pen and highlighter I have in front of me, I'm pretty sure they're sponsored as well. Kyle's seat is sponsored, as is mine. But by the time you get to the ball dropping, you want to get the heck out of there. You're done. And then when the thing is over, the barricades end up getting trampled generally. People rush to either the 42nd Street station, subway station, which is one of the largest stations in Manhattan, or they go up the street to the 49th Street station. Generally, it's about every 7 blocks where the subway stops in New York City. And it's mayhem. It's absolute mayhem. So I didn't take any subway that night. As I said, I lived way down by West 4th Street, so I just walked. I mean, it was just a throng of people walking. And generally, whatever clothes you're wearing, you just might as well just take them out in the street and burn them, because it's a nightmare.
It is soiled for the rest of time between the food in your pocket and the clutter in your pants.
Yes. That's that phrase should be sponsored, clutter in your pants. If you're just joining us, this, of course, is the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. The boys are off today. I'm Christopher Gabriel. Please call me CG. That's way too many syllables. Happy to be here. I've been here before. I've guest hosted on the afternoon show. Always a pleasure to join us, to join you here in Sacramento. Kyle Ledbetter keeping things rolling in the right direction. I said at the top of the program that if things go right, it's because of him. If things fall off the railings, it's because of me. So I had a quiet New Year's Eve at home. I like to cook food for the family and what have you. Now, I'm looking at you, and I'm seeing a young, dashing guy, probably the world at your doorstep, wherever you want to go, whatever folks in Sacramento do for excitement, for a great night out, that was probably part of your evening. So on New Year's Eve, Kyle Ledbetter, you did what?
Well, first, I watched the infamous ball drop with Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper just losing their minds on television as they got progressively more drunk.
Yes, right.
First watched that, and then my roommates really wanted to watch the Stranger Things finale. So
wait, you watch TV?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll call it that.
All right. Yes. And is Stranger Things obviously a big phenomenon? And now we're at the closing of the show. Is that correct? We've sort of gotten there.
This is the finale, yes.
Okay.
After what I believe is 17 years, we have finally gotten to the end of that show.
Okay. Has it gotten, and I'm not being flippant here, has the show gotten more strange over the period of time that it's been on?
I can't speak to it myself, but
okay.
I would like to say yes.
It's not a show that's ever grabbed me. There's a lot of shows out there that are very popular. The Bear, that's never been a big one for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would have thought you being a Chicago guy.
Yeah. I'm a Chicago guy growing up in a restaurant family. It would seem to be the kind of show that would be perfect for me. And it's just not working.
Brings back too many unpleasant memories.
That's entirely possible. That is entirely possible.
Maybe hit just a little too close to home.
That might be right as well. But as long as we're talking about food, so I got here, came up, got a hotel, and I didn't know where to eat. I had a list of places that people had suggested. A lot of them were closed. It's New Year's Day, but I knew fast food would be open. So I found one close to where I was staying. And I don't know, is it me that when I go through a drive-thru, it seems that things for me in drive-thrus do not work well. They just don't work out well. I decided I wanted to get a double cheeseburger at this particular place and some French fries and just a bottle of water. That's it, just a simple order. And the young gal seemed very friendly, and she said, "What do you want?" And I said, "I'm going to go with a double cheese with just onions on it. Just onions." She said, "So you want just plain with onions?" I said, "No, I want the cheese." She said, "Well, you said you wanted a double cheese with just onions, so you don't want the cheese." I said, "No, I want the cheese." "No, I do want the cheese." "So then you want everything?" "No, I don't want everything. I don't want everything. I want the onions and the cheese and the burgers. That's what I want." We went through that for another minute or so, and I got to the window. She was just a very sweet young girl, and she said, "So you want everything but onions?" "No, that's not what I said. That is not, no. I want a double cheese with just onions." "Okay, so you don't want cheese." And we kept playing this thing, and am I saying it wrong when I say I want a double cheese with just onions? Am I saying, does that imply to you that I don't want cheese?
I guess saying a double hamburger with cheese and onions maybe would have been the most obvious. But again, I feel like after 4 or 5 interactions, it's like, I just want a cheeseburger with onions. So the only thing is meat, cheese, onion, bread.
And I'm ordering based upon what their menu says. Their menu says double cheeseburger. So I thought, I'm going to say double cheeseburger with what I want. I mean, this happens all the time, and I'm starting to feel like it's me. Like I'm the one. Like I'm doing it wrong somehow.
Well, I think the other part, too, is depending on which fast food restaurant you're going to, they have different terminology for things, too. So there's not a universal ordering language. You call it this place might be a burger, this place they call it a star, this place they might call it a something else. Like, you don't know exactly. There's no universal language for ordering, and that makes it maybe harder to do this at different places.
I think that's a fair statement. That's a fair statement. So I eventually got the food. The food came right, and that was great. Lastly, coming here this morning from the hotel. Now, I've been here before, as I mentioned. I've guest hosted here 3 times. And what I've learned is coming to this building in the daytime is infinitely easier than coming to it when there's no light. I followed my little GPS on my map in my car, followed it, and it told me to make a left here, make a right there, go here, go to this road. And when it told me to make a left, as I was supposed to be coming to your building, there was a chain link fence.
That's not how to get here.
That was not how to get here. So, when you have your little GPS and it reroutes you. So I decided, well, that's not going to work because I don't see a building. I don't see a broadcast center. So I continued down the road I was on. And when it rerouted me, it almost took me to downtown Sacramento, which is out of the way. Just a bit.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. And I'm thinking to myself, am I going to end up doing the first 5 to 10 minutes of the program from my car? That's entirely possible, which would not be what your boss wants. Your boss, my former producer, actually, back in Fresno.
Shout out Jose.
Shout out Jose.
Even though you don't call him Jose.
I don't call him that. We knew him as a shortened version of his last name, Gonzo. Yeah. And he was hosting here the other day, the midday show, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. Looking very sharp. But that would not be what he had in mind when he said, can you do the Friday program? I said, yes, I can. And then I'm just driving around Sacramento. I didn't want to call you. I didn't, because I thought, okay, it's probably going to be lame enough as it is. Older guy coming in, calling young Kyle, who is, the stalwart producer, one of the great producers at this station. I've listened, allegedly. We'll say that. And I've got to call him and say, help me get here. I don't know where I'm at. I'm lost. I'm seeing signs 65 miles for San Francisco. I'm not in the right place.
No, if you go all the way to San Francisco, then you are on the wrong freeway, my friend. But
yes,
I do feel like the station is not the easiest place to get to. Now, I don't know about chain link fences or what you were supposed to drive through, but... Right. We are a little bit out of the way, just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. I got here, but it took me about 15 minutes longer. But I'm glad I'm here. I made it here, and this is a great studio to work in. Finally, we've got a lot of stuff to get to on the program coming up after we pause. I want to talk about the Kings. I don't know what happened to them in their game against the Clippers. And I've said for years, doing sports talk, I've said for years that any team with James Harden is not going to win a title. That's just I don't feel that his game is such that it's going to lend itself to a title. But the Clippers aren't exactly a team that's going to win a title this year anyway. But the Kings look dreadful, and I would be very clear about something right off the bat. I am not coming in here as some sort of Kings expert. I follow the Kings, albeit from about 150 miles away. Everybody who sits in this big chair knows the ins and outs of the Kings better than I do, but I know enough to know that I see a team that, for my money, is a better team than 8-26. And I know that you might be listening to me saying, well, what does that mean? They're a 10-win team, a 12-win team? Well, I'm going to share something that I call Who Saw This Coming? And I've got a couple of examples that maybe will make Kings fans feel a little better, that you're not alone. Because last year at this time, on this date, on January 2nd, your Sacramento Kings were 15-19. They are 8-26 right now. I love that 15-19 sounds like this glamorous, incredible accomplishment given the state of the team now.
We are 15-19, and the playoffs, the play-in is right around the corner.
At this point, I think we were right at the beginning of that 7-game win streak that randomly happened right after they fired Mike Brown.
You are correct, and I still wonder about that firing, but that's another story that we might get into. But coming up, I want to offer that, and I want to offer a couple of thoughts, maybe a Kings parallel to the Chicago Bulls, but not those Chicago Bulls. This is Sactown Sports 1140.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
Mark and Tom with you, the travel and entertainment guys, brought to you by Sports Leisure Vacations. Time for our weekly travel tip, and with it, here's Mark Hoffman.
Travelers United asked in a survey, what one airline improvement do you think would make flying more civil? Here are the top 5 answers. At 43%, the best idea airlines could follow, more comfortable and wider seats. Second, at 33%, more legroom. Those two things make a huge customer comfort statement. Fewer seats, more room. Of course, that's only coming at a price. 3 through 5 on the list, respectively. 14% said get rid of the baggage fees. 6% felt there should be better compensation when something goes wrong. And finally, 4% said we want better food and snacks. That one could actually happen. But the first 4 would cut profits, so thanks for your opinion, say the airlines. Next topic, please. Okay, 2 more peanuts in every bag. See, we are listening.
More tips to make you a smarter traveler, Saturdays at 11 a.m., right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Year-end pricing's in effect. Every vehicle's priced to sell before the new year during Happy Honda Days. At Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Get behind the wheel of your new Accord or Civic today. Own or lease during Happy Honda Days at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Visit us at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Rain on game day doesn't faze Dave. He's already got his poncho. Just needs to do something about those wipers. So Dave heads to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner helps him get premium quiet wipers and some hand warmers.
You're all set.
Now, if only his team can handle the elements as well as his new wipers. Get wipers, glass cleaner, and more with no hassles, just help at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Only available with TurboTax experts. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app.
Brown at the free throw line. Right shoulder toward the basket. Protects the dribble. Now shakes, turns, launches, scores, and he's fouled. 25 points. The final score is 120-106. Sacramento now slides to 8-26, and they've got a game to play in less than 24 hours in Arizona.
The only place in the morning.
we can start factoring in injuries and what have you, but watching that Kings game last night, I mean, I'm going back and forth from my phone to the screen, and that, especially for an older set of eyes, going from the teeny screen to like a 50-inch screen, it was an adjustment. But I look at the Kings, and I see a team, and maybe, again, I watch them. I work with Kings fans down in Fresno who, they're passionate Kings fans. One who is dying to light the beam himself. It's not going to happen. Okay, it's just not going to happen.
Well, you could maybe play for the team or sponsor the team, because I think 50 Cent one time randomly lit the beam because he was sponsoring the team one year.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
But other than that, that's the only people who've gotten to be beam lighters.
Yeah, and I like that term, beam lighters. We don't call them beemers.
No.
That gets into the whole Frank Beamer, Shane Beamer, a whole different thing there.
And we're talking about cars all of a sudden.
Exactly right. It's similar to the sausage race in Milwaukee, where you ostensibly have to be connected to the team. I nearly got to do that. We had nearly talked in their PR department to letting me do it, and at the last minute it got rejected. I had a hankering to be a brat. I really wanted to.
You were so close.
I was very close.
It would have been a career accomplishment to dress up in a giant brat suit.
And I feel like, and they warned me when it seemed like I was going to get to do it, they warned me that one of the other encased meat figures might try to trip me or knock me over. And it wouldn't have taken much.
Encased meat figure is an incredible sentence, incredible phrase.
That's, there's nothing better than grilled encased meat. As a Midwesterner, I'm just telling you, that's kind of what we call it. 916-339-1140. So my thought about the Kings, and I said, who saw this coming? If I may, let me just share a couple of things that I don't think anybody saw coming this year. We talked about 15 and 19 as though it was some sort of glamour stat. That's where the Kings were on January 2nd, 2025. But I started going through this. We'll start with the NBA. The Pistons right now, the Detroit Pistons, as they like to call them in Motown, 25 and 9. What do you think their record was this day last year?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I know they were the 6th seed, so I'd say like 500. We'll say 17 and 17.
You're close. They were 15 and 18.
Same as the Kings, basically.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
And now the Pistons are the number 1 seed in the East.
How about that? The Cleveland Cavaliers, I don't know what's going on with them. They were 29 and 4 on January 2nd last year. They're 19 and 16. And again, we can look at injuries, this and that, but you figure a team that was 29 and 4 and largely the same roster, you'd figure that they wouldn't be having that much of a 10-game drop-off. But they have.
Yes, and like you said, Darius Garland had been out for a number of games, but other than that, it is essentially the same roster that won, 60-something games last year?
Exactly. Memphis Grizzlies, they were 23 and 11 on this date last year. Right now, they're 15 and 18. And, of course, we mentioned the Kings, 15 and 19 last year on this date, now 8 and 26. I almost said 26 and 8. That would be ideal.
No, that would be... number 2 seed in the East and number 3 seed in the West at this point? Gosh.
Exactly. Take a look at the NFL. I know we're talking Kings here, but as long as we're talking about who saw this coming, New England Patriots, they're 13 and 3. Drake May's done a phenomenal job. I did not see this coming for the New England Patriots. What was their record to end the year last year?
Oh, well, I know they had a top pick. Was it 4 and 13 or 3 and 14?
Man, you are right. You are all over it. If I had a bell, I'd ring it. 4 and 13. So what a dramatic improvement for them. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 12 and 4. They were 4 and 13. 4 and 13. Detroit Lions, they're 8 and 8 right now. They were 15 and 2.
Yeah, man, they were playing they were the 1 seed last year. They were playing for the 1 seed this time last year.
That's correct. Let's see, the Raiders. In my notes, I wrote Oakland, and it, I think there's a lot of folks that think, has Vegas really been that good for them? They're 2 and 14. I thought that this Las Vegas Raiders team was going to be much better. Pete Carroll comes in, Tom Brady's advised them a little bit. They get Ashton Genty, And they're a disaster. But they were 4-13 last year. And a little bit later, we might get into what coaches do we think are going to get fired. He might be on the list. Pete Carroll might be on the list.
The oldest coach in the NFL with the worst record in the NFL might be on the chopping block.
He might be. I mean, it's hard to imagine because that's a guy that knows how to win. But right now, pardon my grammar, it ain't happening. It's not happening there. Pittsburgh and Baltimore, only one makes the playoff. I thought both would have made the playoffs just like last year. And finally, San Francisco 49ers. And they seem to be, I mean, that whole organization should be sponsored by a healthcare company for all the injuries that they have had and that they sustain. 6-11 last year, as everybody knows. They are 12-4 now. And I mentioned that I thought there was a slight comparison here that I wanted to make with the Sacramento Kings and the Chicago Bulls. And I don't mean those Bulls. And I see we do have somebody waiting. We'll get to him. Hang in there. I see you. We're going to get to you. I don't mean the Michael Jordan Bulls. I don't mean these Bulls. I mean the Bulls that I grew up with that had very capable players. Going back to the days of Norm Van Leer, Jerry Sloan, Chet the Jet Walker, and Butterbean Bob Love. These were good teams. And they could never get out of the Western Conference because they couldn't get past the Lakers or they couldn't get past themselves. They went through coach after coach. The most well-known coach back then, I know I'm going back a ways, but this is making a point, was Dick Motta. And Dick Motta was a good coach, but he always utilized his talent the wrong way.
Well, Sacramento knows a thing or two about him.
Exactly my point. Yes. And when I look at some of those old Bulls teams, and I mentioned Bulls because I'm a born and raised Chicagoan. I moved out here 11 years ago, and I adopted the Niners. So, yeah, I'm not, full confession, I was a little sad last week. But, who cares? The Niners won.
And the Bears are doing fine anyways. You'll take having a game that matters this late in the season.
Let me tell you, they were the marionettes of the Midway for a lot of years. The fact that they're going to get an extra 60 minutes after their final game against the Lions, I'm excited about that. But when I look at this Kings roster, I see talent on this roster. That's not breaking news. I know that people tend to be hot and cold about Russell Westbrook. I'm a guy that likes him. I like the ferocity that he brings. And I know that sometimes that ferocity is not controlled. It's a little bit crazy. He'll just launch a 27-footer. Going back to his days at UCLA, Russ has never been known for his outside shot. I think we've seen that here, have we not?
Yeah, but weirdly enough, he's gotten better at least the corner threes.
Yes,
a very good corner three-point shooter. The other stuff we'll live with.
He's had his triple doubles. He's put games together. I like what he brings to the table. But when I look at this team, and I don't want to open an old wound, I still don't understand why this team, this franchise, this organization said, let's trade De'Aaron Fox. How has that worked out?
The timing of everything just did not work out. I mean, it was if he wasn't going to sign the contract extension, it was going to happen down the line. But settling for that trade, I get known. I bring this up every time. But essentially, they've now walked away with Zach LaVine, one of the worst contracts in the NBA. Nick Clifford, who, again, promising rookie, but a lower first-round draft pick, older guy, certainly. 17 games of Jonas Valanciunas, 27 games of Jake LaRavia, a couple second-round picks, and one Timberwolves first-round pick that you are just hoping to God Anthony Edwards doesn't re-sign so that they might be at the bottom of the lottery.
It is reminiscent to me, and forgive me for dating myself a bit, but it is reminiscent to me of the 18-player, 3-team trade, different scope, different levels, between the Cowboys, the Vikings, and the Chargers, where the Vikings needed some better rushing attack. So the Cowboys talked them into this massive deal where Herschel Walker who wasn't doing, he was great at Georgia, obviously, but he never did much in Dallas. He went to the Vikings, and the Vikings ended up loading them up with draft choices. And I made a note because I had to go back. I had to go back and look at it because I wanted to see exactly who it was specifically, primarily that the Cowboys got out of the trade. And when you get past all the draft choices, everything, the two big names, courtesy of the Minnesota Vikings, that they got, a couple of guys named Russell Maryland and Emmitt Smith. And that ultimately led to 3 Super Bowls. The Vikings, the biggest name they got out of that whole trade was Jake Reed. The Vikings are still sitting at 4 Super Bowl appearances and no wins.
Yeah, and even though they've had a few good runs, it pales in comparison to what Dallas went through, which it's funny that you do bring that up because even though the Cowboys won this trade and got future Hall of Fame running back and all that stuff, none of it works without them having the foundational piece of Troy Aikman.
No doubt.
And in a similar way, that's what the Spurs have. De'Aaron Fox trade works great. They also have Harrison Barnes from a previous deal with the Kings. All that looks good. Devin Vassell, Stephon Castles, everything else. But without that foundational number 1 pick of Wemby, maybe it doesn't look as promising as it does right now for the Spurs.
Exactly right. And I mean, De'Aaron Fox, you know that he goes to work every night, every day at practice. Delighted that he gets to play with Wemby. Delighted. You know, the San Antonio Spurs, we've been talking, there's been a theme so far in this first 40 minutes that sponsoring, San Antonio Spurs sponsored by the Sacramento Kings. All right, Tim, I see you there. We're going to get to Tim on the other side. Glad you were joining us. It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. I'm Christopher Gabriel. This is Sactown Sports 1140.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits. Guys, if your energy is low, your strength isn't what it used to be, or your drive feels off, it's not just getting older. For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, you can start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation so you get real answers about your testosterone levels and overall health. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. This isn't guesswork or one-size-fits-all treatment. Revive specializes in personalized, closely monitored testosterone care designed to help men feel stronger, sharper, and more like themselves again. With over 120,000 patients treated since 2011, Revive Men's Health is trusted for results, not hype. If you've been putting this off, now is the time to act. Claim your free T-check and consultation and see if you qualify for 25% off TRT. This month only. Call 916-619-3000. That's 916-619-3000. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
Coach Christie here letting you know the year-end sell-a-thon is on at Folsom Lake Ford. And with your approved credit, get 0% financing plus 0 down, plus no payments for 90 days on select new Fords. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford today. Interest accrues from date of purchase.
The The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
On Sactown Sports.
CG from KMJ in Fresno. Boy, I'm delighted to be with you. Happy New Year, everybody. 916-339-1140, rolling through the 4-hour tour. Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass, making sure that everything is running right. He is elite. Say good morning to Tim. Tim, welcome to the program. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Thanks for holding on. What's on your mind?
Good morning, CG. Hey, shout out to Fresno. You know, the college out there, the Bulldogs, they were my mascot for my elementary school.
Right on.
Arthur C. Butler Bulldogs.
There you go. Right on. Good deal.
Right on. Good deal, man. And that's pretty much all I have for you. Thank you for filling in for your 4th time, and keep it up.
Well, thank you, sir. Tim, I appreciate that. Appreciate the good wishes. We'll take that. We'll take that.
See, you've got a fan already. See, you walked in today, and I was mentioning the text line to you, and you were like, "Oh, here's where all the people are going to be like, who's this old guy who's not our normal old guy?"
That's right. We just trade out old guys in the H chair. That's all we do.
See, you've been here 44 minutes, and you've already got a great fan.
We'll appreciate. You know, everybody needs one. You know, it's funny, and everybody here at Sactown Sports understands this. When you're on the air, and it's unavoidable, and you have a presence certainly on the air that people get to know your voice. You know, and I've been doing this for over 20 years, 21 years now, and people know your voice. And I just tell you, before we talk about the 49ers, just tell you, it becomes a curse when you have kids. Because I have 2 daughters, they're 22 and 18, and we will go to the store, and, you know, God bless them, they still call me daddy, and I'll take that. I'll take that.
Like Fernando Mendoza.
Yes, exactly. And he has more than one fan, by the way. Fernando has more than one fan. I have one now.
Mommy. We play that drop all the time.
I like that. But we'll go to a store, be in the cereal aisle, what have you, and somebody across over the next aisle, I'll hear them say, "Excuse me, are you CG?" But, you know, and invariably, whatever daughter's with me goes, "Oh, here we go again. Really? Do we have to? Why? Everywhere we go." It's like, I'm sorry. It's, you know, if I was an accountant, nothing against accountants, if I was an architect, that wouldn't be the case. But it is in this business. Just wait.
You're the little voice in people's heads.
That's right. And I like to say, for better or for worse, I'm the little voice in people's heads. So this weekend, I believe we would say tomorrow, 49ers. 49ers taking on the hated Seattle Seahawks. And this is a game that is coming on the heels of the Bears game last week. I don't know that there's been a better game in the National Football League than Bears 49ers last week. I mean, you had teams just throwing haymakers at each other all night long. The Bears, I mean, yes, full confession, I'm a Bears fan. I just wanted to see the Bears go toe-to-toe with the Niners. I never expected them to win. They were right there. They were about 1.5 yards from that ball bouncing to winning that game. But a heck of a football game. And one of the narratives that I have been seeing and reading and hearing about for this game is Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy. And for my money, Sam Darnold, he's had a good year. He's apparently found a home. Has he not, up in Seattle?
I think so, at least for, it was a 3-year contract, which in the NFL is probably a 2-year contract with a non-guaranteed year, but yeah, for at least a little bit.
You know, you look at him, came out of SC, goes to the Jets when he comes out, didn't really do anything for the most part there.
Except saw ghosts.
Exactly. Yes, he did. Then I believe he found his way to the Vikings, did he not?
Well, there was
a stop before that.
There was a brief pit stop with the Panthers.
The Panthers, thank you.
Where he had, I think they were 3-0 to start the season, and everyone was like, "Yeah, Sam Darnold."
It's Sam Darnold.
And then they were like 5-12.
Right. Where I'm going with this is that he had the glitz, the glamour, everything behind him at SC. Coming in, you know, he's in the draft room. He's right there. Brock Purdy had none of that, obviously. We all understand his story, Mr. Irrelevant, and on and on and on. I do not see Sam Darnold on the same playing surface, the same level as Brock Purdy. I think that Brock Purdy for all that he has done and will continue to do for this team, I believe that he is one of the most underappreciated, underrated quarterbacks or players in the National Football League. And sometimes I feel like I'm one of the few people who thinks that. I don't know. The guy just goes out and gets it done. It doesn't matter who is playing with him, who's healthy, and that seems to be a monumental task to have a healthy San Francisco 49ers team to begin with. But as we all know, the Niners win this game. They're the number one seed. They never have to leave Santa Clara. They never have to leave. They can sail through to the Super Bowl. But what I'm curious about is that a hidden landmine? Is there something in play there that potentially works against the Niners in this game tomorrow? Kickoff's what, 5 p.m.? Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Or whenever Bucks-Panthers is done.
Exactly. That game will go into overtime, and then we'll just have to wait. But I just wonder if there is something lurking there that the Niners have to be careful to not fall into. And I'm thinking about when the Vikings, for the NFC Championship, went to South Philadelphia and the Link to play the Eagles and Nick Foles. And nobody really thought that Nick Foles and the Eagles, even though they're playing at home, were going to beat the Vikings.
I mean, the Vikings had just come off the Minnesota Miracle.
Unbelievable.
And it was like, oh my God, they're America's team now.
Unbelievable. Paul Allen on the call. Oh my, on local radio there. Incredible. America's team. The Minnesota Vikings. The land of Scandinavians. That's where my wife is from. But they went there, and all they had to do was play 60 minutes of solid football, and they get to play the Super Bowl in downtown Minneapolis in U.S. Bank Stadium. And they got trashed in South Philadelphia. They were never in that game. And, of course, the Eagles went on to come to Minneapolis, and they win the Super Bowl. And so my thought here, and maybe I'm looking at something that isn't necessarily in play, but my concern is for the 49ers that they don't look at this as like, we're playing at home. Things are real. We just came off a great win against the Bears. We've got a couple of guys injured. We're not sure. Christian McCaffrey says his back's not going to be a problem. I've had back things over the years, certainly when I was a basketball player, and back things are more of a problem, I think, than people want to let on. And if I'm Christian McCaffrey, that's absolutely what I'm saying.
I mean, we saw Christian McCaffrey have that issue last week when he was trying to fight through the end of the game. I mean, it's only been 6 days. I'm sure it's not perfect back there.
No, and I mean, if there's a sport that you don't want to have a back issue, it's football, right? So we've got that situation. Then we have Trent Williams. Where are we at with him?
Well, we may have an update from Kyle Shanahan about whether he'll play or not. I do need to pull it up real quick. But that's
a key piece.
He's more, I would say, unlikely to play than, say, Christian McCaffrey. But I guess the verdict is still out. Here is Kyle Shanahan talking about that.
I definitely don't want to lose any players for the following week, knowing we're in the playoffs. But, I mean, I also look at when you're playing to play one less playoff game, you can look at that as a playoff game. I mean, I know the season's not over if we lose. But you still got to go play a game the next week on the road if you lose, and you can completely avoid that by winning. So I see this as a playoff game too. So I don't look at it as it's maybe that you'd lose him, you won't have him next week. I look at it as simple as if the doctors okay it and Trent believes he can do it and get through it, then there's no decision on my part. We'll definitely have him up.
And you certainly have to look at this from the standpoint of you're playing at home, you're in the playoffs, you're going to get a home game. You should get a home game, right? I mean, if you win.
For the 49ers?
49ers, yeah.
Well, yeah, you would get a home. You would get a bye and a home.
And a bye and a home game, but you have to look long term here as well. If I'm Kyle Shanahan and I'm looking at Trent Williams and we get to a point 1 or 2 o'clock tomorrow where Trent, team doctor, everybody is saying it's 50-50, he can go or not. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm saying I'm going to rest him. I'm going to rest him because winning this game would be great, but it's not paramount to the road ahead as we try to get to the Super Bowl.
See, this is the tough part about it, because I've been saying all week, like, I don't feel like the 49ers can get to the Super Bowl without getting that number 1 seed. And I only say that because the advantage of the bye is not just the home field advantage, but all of these really good teams are going to knock each other out in the first round. Like, if the Niners win, you would have first-round matchups of, I think, the Rams and the Eagles, 2 teams I think could beat the 49ers even in Santa Clara. One of them is going to lose before the Niners ever have to play a playoff snap. And then you would have the Packers and the Bears, 2 teams that I also think could beat the 49ers. So versus if the Niners lose, they would have to go, as you mentioned earlier, to Philadelphia for a wild card game, and every playoff game would essentially be on the road for them. So they really do need this home field advantage at the same time.
And I see it to counter what you're saying. I think you make a good point, but to counter that, I would just say this is a team that is 7-2 on the road this year. And I don't think this team is made up of veterans, guys that have no issues getting on the road and going and winning a football game. I think your point is well taken, and I do think that the San Francisco 49ers can get to the Super Bowl if they have to go on the road, but obviously, we're not breaking news here. It's an easier road if they simply beat Seattle.
Yes, because in all likelihood, if they lose, the Rams are going to sit people, so maybe the Rams will lose, but assuming the Rams beat the terrible Cardinals, the 49ers road would be at Philadelphia, at Seattle again, and then some other team on the road in the NFC Championship game.
You're asking a lot, certainly, but I'm not going to underestimate what this team can do. I think they can do a lot. All right, coming up in hour number 2, 3 for Madness. I'm looking forward to this. A good deal. Kyle Ledbetter, he's behind the glass, keeping things rolling in the right direction. I'm CG. I am in for Carmichael Dave and Jason Ross, and this is Sactown Sports 1140.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-949-1441. That's 800-949-1441.
Just announced, Stockton Honda has been named #1 of California's best car dealers in 2025 by USA Today and Statista. This prestigious award is based on thousands of customer reviews and recommendations, ranking dealerships for service, value, and satisfaction. Out of hundreds evaluated, Stockton Honda is proud to be #1, recognized for all-around excellence and commitment to our customers. Visit Stockton Honda, where reputation meets the road.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing.
Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people
in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LOVE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LOVE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LOVE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The Sactown Sports 49ers Report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. Niners win a huge game on Sunday night versus Chicago 42-38. Brock Purdy was outstanding. He accounted for 5 touchdowns, throwing for 300 yards and 3 TDs, rushed for 2 more, while Christian McCaffrey rushed for 181 yards from scrimmage and had a touchdown as well. Niners finished the regular season Saturday with Seattle, with the winner getting the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Catch the game this Saturday beginning at 4 right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
KHD HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by the league.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sactown Sports 1140. The Carmichael Dave Show.
He's on the microphone when he's not on the microphone. He's playing a song, and when he's not playing a song, he's on the microphone, and then boom.
With Jason Ross.
No, he didn't. Yes, he did.
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross on Sactown Sports.
Hour number 2, Carmichael Dave Show, Jason Ross. I'm CG, up from KMJ in Fresno. I'm delighted to be with you behind glass, making things magical. Kyle Ledbetter. We have this really cool thing that you know they do every day on this program, or most days, and I believe it's called Threefer Madness.
3 questions, 3 answers. It's Threefer Madness on the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Here's question 1.
Well, CG, for question 1, let's talk about the Kings.
All right, sounds good.
They lost again yesterday.
They just lost again.
They're currently 8-26 on the season, so let me ask you, at this point, they're currently on pace to win 19 games.
Right.
That would be the second worst record in Sacramento era for the team, so going back to 1985. Do you think today the Sacramento Kings will get to 20 wins on the season?
I do. I do. And I know that we like to do that in sports, right? We look at the percentage. They're at it's hard to say this, at a 235 quote, winning percentage. They're having a rough go. And so we map that out over 82 games, and they're on pace to win 19. Similar to earlier in the season, Oklahoma City early on was on pace to win 73 games, which would match the Golden State Warriors' 73-win season. But now they've dropped to, I think, 71, 72, right in that area. I do think they will. I look at this team's roster, and I see them play last night against the Celtics, where it's 88-88. The fourth quarter hits. The Celtics go on a little run right at the beginning. Eventually, the Kings pulled with 6 minutes to go. I think they pulled it within 4 or 6 points. At that point, I didn't get the idea that the Kings were going to win the game, because it just the flow of the game was just going too much the Celtics' way, and the Kings were just unable to get enough stops in a row. But I feel like over the next, you look at they've got 20, 34, so, close to 50 games left. Am I doing the math right? 26, 34, 40, 48 games? 46, 48?
48.
Okay. Math lessons sponsored by
Real mathematician CG.
Yes, exactly. I think they're bound to hit a winning streak at some point where they rip off 5 or 6 or 7 in a row. We get all excited, as we should. Every team goes through something where they're going to hit a winning streak. But I do think that they're going to get to 20 wins because I keep saying it. When I look at them, I don't see a team that is just despondent and miserable and awful. I don't see that. What am I missing?
Well, okay, I've said the same point you have, which the Kings had one of the hardest stretches of schedule I think they had the hardest stretch the first 25 games of the season in terms of strength of record. And I kept making this point. They're going to win some of these games by accident, whether it's the other team had a bad shooting night,
right.
They had a great shooting night. This is the NBA. The worst teams ever still win 1 out of 4 games. So they're going to win some of them by accident. And then they kept losing games. I was like, I'm telling you, they're going to win some of these by accident. But part of it is, too, now that they've gotten through that tough stretch, they have the second easiest strength of schedule left this season. They still play the Mavericks a couple times, the Pelicans 3 or 4 times, which they should hope to win. They play Washington and Brooklyn and the Pacers 6 times. So in theory, they should have some easier opponents that they might beat.
Yeah, just for giggles, let's just look at the next 5. They're in Phoenix tonight.
Yes.
All right.
They are which better team than we thought at the start of the year.
No question about it. They have Milwaukee coming in with Giannis.
Well, 12th seed in the East, but
I'm just saying, all right.
They beat them once already.
These are 2 games that are winnable. And the critical fan will say, well, they're all winnable, they're all losable. Right, but we're trying to look on the positive side here. We're going glass half full.
They will probably not be double-digit underdogs for those games.
Exactly. Okay, and then there's Dallas. That's here.
They just beat them, on Saturday.
Correct. And then they go to Golden State. Golden State has had their own issues up and down, no doubt. And Golden State at home has not been, well, obviously, for a couple of years now, they're not the dominant force they used to be. For that matter, let's go back a little bit. Golden State, I still say that Golden State lost a lot when they left Oracle Arena. I understand why they did it. Everybody wants their pleasure palace, and good for the rest of the league, good for the Western Conference when they moved out of there. But that place was a horror house for visiting teams. Chase Center is the shrimp and pearls and white wine crowd.
Yeah, and a lot of fans get priced out of that arena. That's been a talking point for years.
Absolutely.
Absolutely part of it.
And then there's Houston.
Yeah, I don't love that one. But
okay, so this could be in the glass half full side of this, potentially 3-2, 4-1, possibly. It's not going to be a 5-0, but I think if they can go 3-2, maybe even 4-1, why not?
Well, then at that point, first of all, you would have some subsection of the fan base that would be like, no, we're losing the draft position at this point. But at that point, you would have 12 wins on the season. You'd be on pace for 25 or 26.
Right. Things change.
Exactly. That's a big difference.
And I stopped at 5 games because the next 2 are the Lakers and the Knicks.
Yeah, don't love that
I don't love those either. I think that's going to be a problem.
Maybe Luka won't play something.
Maybe.
Question 2.
All right, well, we had the college football playoff quarterfinals over the last couple days. CG, what was your biggest takeaway from the 4 games?
Got an hour? Well, this is something we're going to hit a little bit in a little bit, but my biggest takeaway of the 4 games, the 4 teams that are seeded, the amount of time that they have to wait to play has clearly worked against them. I mean, when you look at the 2 years that they've expanded to 12 teams, 7 of the 8 seeded teams that had byes have lost. And 6 of the 8 teams had a complete inability to score in the first half. I mean, I've got the list right in front of me here. We can go back to last year. Penn State, Boise State scored 7, Arizona State 3, Oregon 8, Georgia 3. All those teams lost. This year, Ohio State did not score in the first half against Miami. They lost. Texas Tech didn't score the whole game. They lost. Indiana bucked that trend. They just annihilated Alabama. And Georgia bucked the trend, scoring 21, but Ole Miss won. So my biggest takeaway is that you can practice all you want. You can go in full pads and simulate game situations. But when you are off for 21, 24, 25 days, that is a problem. And you are doing a disservice to the teams that earn their way to getting a bye. You're doing a disservice to those teams. That was takeaway number one.
Yeah, and as the playoff continues to expand, fewer, or I guess the quote-unquote more quality teams are going to be the ones that get the byes and will be at a greater disservice.
And another takeaway, and this is something we'll talk about in a little while, and I have harped on this on my program a great deal. College football, who is in control of all of this? The former executive director of the college football playoff, Bill Hancock, came on my show several times, 2 times. And he would always talk about, well, I'll tell you what, Chris, I'm not sensing a lot of movement for anybody to have the idea that the playoff should be more than 4 teams. And I always thought, respectfully, I don't know who you're talking to, because the athletic directors around the country that I'm talking to, they would like to see that expanded. But when I look at this playoff, I want to see games on college campuses. FCS and their 2014 playoff has done it beautifully forever. Division II does it that way. Division III does it that way. Every playoff in every sport does it that way, except FBS. And I think you're taking something away from the magical quality of college football when you do that. You saw the Oregon-Texas Tech game. There were so many empty seats at Hard Rock Stadium. You notice the camera kept focusing on the lower area, because in the upper reaches, there were a lot of empty seats. And you've got Oregon fans and Texas Tech fans before the game thinking, oh, well, I've got to decide what I want to do here, because Oregon fans are, do I want to pay for a 6,000 mile round trip adventure? And then after that, I think they go to Atlanta next.
I believe that is true, yes.
And then if they go to the national championship, they're going back to Miami. So that was my other takeaway. There's a lot of takeaways we'll get to, but those are my 2 biggest takeaways, is what happens to the teams that have the byes, and the fact that college football, like college basketball, not as much, college football more, really depends on those great home environments. And somebody said to me when I brought this up last week on my station, said, well, you don't want weather to play into it. Why? It's football. If weather plays into it, so what?
So this is kind of the tough part about, I think, the playoff in general, is that the bowl games obviously have decreased value, but college football has this stapled tradition of neutral site. You go to El Paso, you go to Atlanta, you go to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl as part of their history. So by doing the playoff format, the home sites make the most sense, but you've inherently diminished the bowl games. And in fairness, the bowl games are going away because now teams are just opting out of them altogether.
So I'll take your point, and I'll frame that by saying what you just said makes sense, and it falls into that category of, well, this is how we've always done it. But the game is evolving. The entire sport is evolving. We now have, obviously NIL and the transfer portal. We'll get to that in a little while. And this playoff is going to expand to 14 or 16 teams. At the latest, it'll expand when the TV contract expires or before then. They have the ability to do that, to expand this a little bit more if they want to. And when they do, and you just touched on it, Kyle, I don't know how the bowl system as we know it is sustainable. When, I'll just make up some names. The Acorn.com Bowl, the Poolin Weed Eater Bowl, and et cetera, all these bowls. I watched Central Michigan and Northwestern from Ford Field. Again, those camera shots, they focus on the lower bowl because there was nobody sitting in the upper reaches.
Yeah, who wants to spend Christmas in Detroit on,
you're talking to a Chicagoan, and I can't agree with that anymore. It's just, there's no reason to ever go to Detroit. The only reason to go to Detroit is if you're flying through. With apologies to all the Detroit people listening, I'm sorry.
Or if you're playing in the Quick Lane Bowl.
Yeah, the Quick Lane Bowl. How exciting is that? But these bowl games, and I'm not suggesting that they don't have merit, because not every team out of the 133, 134 Division I FBS teams are going to ever have a chance to make the playoff. They're just not. And the sport is about more than that. It's more than the Big Ten or the SEC. It's much more than that. And I mean, we could broaden that out to FCS. I always follow Sacramento State because my first 6 years as a radio host, as a daily host, after I, was a producer and everything else, was covering North Dakota State. A couple of years ago, if Sacramento State's defense wouldn't have allowed Incarnate Word to score 4,000 points, North Dakota State would have come out here to play them. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, when they had Troy Taylor and won the conference championship.
That would, I was coming up to 99 to watch. That would have been great. But the point is, I mentioned that because there's a lot of great football played around the country. It's not just the P4 teams. It's not just the teams that make the playoff. So college football needs to decide what they want to do going forward. So your point is well taken. The Sun Bowl in El Paso and all, the Citrus Bowl. We used to have the Blockbuster Bowl and the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl and all those. At some point, college football needs to make a decision about how big is the playoff going to be and how many of these bowls are going to be there. As long as people... No, it's not about people watching. As long as sponsors are willing to pay, those bowls are going to exist.
And if ESPN is willing, because I think ESPN operates like 20 of them now. As
long
as ESPN wants the programming, they'll exist.
That's exactly right. ESPN pretty much rules college football.
Question 3.
All right. How about some NFL? We'll talk a little bit later about some of the bigger games, but I wanted to ask you this. Who is under more pressure on Sunday? Is it John Harbaugh and the Ravens or Mike Tomlin and the Steelers?
I am, without hesitation, going to say Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. For me, there's no question about it. Mike Tomlin is a terrific coach, but he is that coach. I think that folks in Pittsburgh, when you start dialing into what the writers are talking about there, what players are saying quietly, what fans are saying not so quietly, what sports talk radio in Pittsburgh is saying is reminiscent of what Steve Spurrier once said when he said he was asked how long he wanted to coach Florida. He left after, I think, 12 years, and he said, well, I think about 12 years is about all you want to be. One place. And how much you win. And his point was a franchise, in this case, starts to get a little stale. Start to feel like we've seen this before, and we expect a little bit more than a 9-7 season, another potential 10-7 season, could be 9-8, and I think that the Rooney family, they're great owners, not like the Chicago Bears family, the McCaskey family, which just when forgive my off ramp here, but one of the McCaskeys, I think it was Mike, when he came out of Harvard Law School and his press conference, first thing he said was, I really don't know anything about football. That's great. Thanks for playing one of the legendary franchises of the National Football League, and the guy who's taken over the franchise has no idea what's going on.
But it's the family business.
It's family business. It's the only asset they have. The Rooneys are not like that. The Rooneys, the Rooney family, they are a great ownership group. They always have been. They put fans first. They never forget about their fans. They let the people they put in place, the folks that they put in place in their upper management structure, do their job. That's what they do. And I just think, it's interesting you asked this question, because about 2 weeks ago I spoke to a friend who's a writer in Pittsburgh, and he said folks are getting a little itchy there. I don't think that they're getting the same way in Baltimore with Harbaugh. I just don't feel that.
So this is interesting, and I wanted to bring this up because we had a great conversation earlier in the week about it, where I am feeling like there's more pressure on Harbaugh. Is first to the Tomlin point. I brought this up. Tomlin, over the last 7 years, are 20 games above 500.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously haven't won a playoff game, but they've been in playoffs.
Right.
And they've done it with just no quarterback play. I mean, they went from Mason Rudolph to Duck Hodges to whatever was left of Ben Roethlisberger.
Smoke and mirrors to a certain extent.
Yeah. And Kenny Pickett and old Russell Wilson and Justin Fields and now old Aaron Rodgers, who's probably the best of the group.
They've been a better version of the Bears in terms of quarterback.
Yes.
Because the Bears have gone through something like 55 quarterbacks in the last 10 or 11 years. And that may be underselling the number.
Yeah, and this version of Aaron Rodgers at 41-42 is probably the best they've had since Ben and AB and Le'Veon Bell in 2018 or something like that.
Hurts me to hear you say that, but you're right.
Yes, this feels like the best version they've had. And they've still managed to win. Therefore, I feel like the problem is not Tomlin. The problem is the inability to bring in a true star quarterback. With Harbaugh, I'm stuck because I'm you got the quarterback, you got the players, you got the great coordinators. Your defensive coordinator's now coaching the Seahawks to the 1 seed. They've had everything. They've done the turnover.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking around. I'm if you can't make the playoffs, I don't know what you do if you're Baltimore.
And see, I think your points are fair. I look at Tomlin and I look at what the Steelers do every game, every year. They're just family lived in Pennsylvania for 50 years, so they're a team that I've always kind of kept an eye on, along with the Eagles. And I just don't see anything appreciably different with this franchise, whomever they put out on the field. And your point is absolutely fair about the quarterback position. But I think franchises sometimes in all sports start to say, you know what? Irrespective of who we have on the roster, who we've went out and gotten, who we've been able to draft, we keep getting names of the players are changing. The results are staying the same, and so is the name of the coach. And organizations get a little itchy, a little twitchy, and decide we need to make a change. We can always get a quarterback, although you're right, that it's been a roulette wheel in Detroit, in Pittsburgh.
They haven't seemed to get the right one.
Right. And that's why I go back to the Chicago Bears. It's a clown show in Chicago until now. And I mean, when they had a chance to draft Patrick Mahomes, when they had a chance to draft Deshaun Watson, we all know the problems and everything that he had, but the Bears, in their great wisdom, went after Mitch Trubisky.
By the way, another Steelers quarterback.
Another Steelers quarterback. That's why I went down that road. So I'm sticking with Harbaugh, but I don't know. It just, looking at that game, I mean, even looking at that game, looking at these two teams, I'm even surprised that one of those teams is not going to be in the playoffs this year.
Yeah. The Baltimore one is shocking.
It's unbelievable.
The ramp is right there for them. And I give them credit for getting back into the race.
Yep.
But, man, they were so good 2 years ago when they lost to Kansas City. And it doesn't feel like the team is all that. They've changed coordinators, obviously, but the team doesn't feel all that different from 2 years ago.
And are you surprised at all? Forgive my interruption. Are you surprised at all, Aaron Rodgers, what he's done this year with Pittsburgh? I mean, I look at the guy, and I mean, obviously when he first got to the Jets, he had the injury in the first game, and just that a whole season went away. But he is a guy, much as I detest him for his, not even so much beating the Bears, but his comments about Chicago, the city, which I wanted to say, dude, I've been to Green Bay. You've got 3 restaurants, 10 bars, and 2 stoplights, and a big stadium, which is a great place. It's a bucket list place for people they should go and see. But, yeah, are you surprised at all? Because he has surpassed what I thought he was going to do this year.
I am a little surprised, but also they don't put him in a ton of situations to make mistakes, which I think is fine for your 42-year-old quarterback.
Yeah.
But it's not like they have this prolific run-and-shoot offense that looks like the Aaron Rodgers of old either.
No, and I don't. I mean, he had better talent in his best years in Green Bay. I mean, he had weapons.
Oh, certainly.
I mean, him and Devontae Adams were, that was a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, and the DK Metcalf thing hasn't been as prolific as maybe one would have thought when they traded for him and paid him $150 million.
I thought that he was going to be an absolute stud there. Instead, the biggest headline he's made was slapping a fan.
Yeah, and Rodgers is making it work with all these tight ends that no one can name.
He is. Just on a personal note, I will not be upset when he retires. For all I care, he can go to Yellowknife, Alberta, or wherever that is, and just go away and never be seen again.
Into his darkness to retreat with the wife we've never seen before.
Who do you get more? Before we pause, who do you get more annoyed by? Aaron Rodgers when he speaks, or Tom Brady when he speaks? It's a tough one, isn't it?
It's two different flavors of ice cream, right?
It is, yes.
I guess Tom Brady as a broadcaster has helped a little bit.
He's gotten better.
Yeah, he's gotten better, but I'm also just hearing him more,
right,
which I think is making it okay. So I guess I'd go Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers wins for me every time, without question. I do think Brady's gotten better, though, as a broadcaster.
Yeah, I mean, compared to, I vehemently don't like Tony Romo on these broadcasts. Compared to Tony Romo, I'd rather Tom Brady.
Jim? Yeah.
I don't know, Jim.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm sure he's a great guy in person. Do we always say that, right? Oh, he's probably a great guy. All right, coming up, we're going to talk some college football. We're going to talk format. We're going to talk NIL, transfer portal. There's a lot to get to. This is the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. I'm CG, Kyle Ledbetter behind the screen, and this is Sactown Sports 1140.
The San Francisco 49ers play on Sactown Sports 1140.
Touchdown 49ers!
Every game on your #1 sports station. Don't miss the action on your local sports leader. Sactown Sports 1140.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Carmichael Dave.
He has very good sources, and he just kind of tells it as it is and gets to the point.
Jason Ross.
He has a lot of pretty smart things to say.
He's good at what he does.
On Sactown Sports.
Rolling through a Friday morning. Glad to have you with me. I'm CG, KMJ in Fresno. Just delighted to be here on Sactown Sports 1140 along with Kyle Ledbetter, behind the glass, elite producer. Those of us who've been doing this for a while, you know the good ones from the not so good, and he is top shelf, folks. So glad to be working with you today, Kyle.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm glad to be getting the call up to the morning show with CG. That is the highest honor I could be bestowed at this job.
Well, that's That might be excessive, but people who know me know I don't blow smoke. But it's always good to be here, sitting in for the boys, Carmichael, Dave, and Jason. Jason's been on my show a couple of times, actually.
Jason mentioned that, and they're figuring out who was going to be doing what show, and he said, "By the way, I think you're going to be working with CG on Friday," because he reached out to me to ask about the show.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and so is Dave. It's fun to have Jason on. We've talked when Jason's come on. I asked him, one of the first things I asked him was, what is wrong with the Sacramento Kings? And his response was, that's a good question. I don't know. Because who does?
No one has the exact answer to it, although we've had a lot of time to think about where things went wrong. But
absolutely. Well, it's good to be here, and we're just rolling through. We got a lot of things to get to still, and we're going to talk some college football quarterfinals. A little bit ago during 3 for Madness, biggest takeaways, and I shared that. I want to read you a quote from Matt Painter, great coach for Purdue. He was a good player, obviously, talking about what's going on with the NCAA and rules. And I think this quote, I have spoken to a number of other coaches at the P4 level, at the group of 5, or is it group of 6 now? I never know. It seems to go back and forth, as well as FCS. And this quote from Coach Painter, I think, really frames it beautifully. And this is what he said. He said this about 10 days ago, talking about the NCAA. We just want to know the rules so we can abide by them. We don't know what's going on. We need some leadership. We need someone to step up and break down how it's ran, how NIL works. Give us the rules and we'll abide by them. We just want to know, close quote. That is an enormous indictment on the NCAA, because the problem with the NCAA is you have a lot of men and women in Indianapolis in gray and navy blue and black suits walking around trying to appease everybody. They're trying to appease college presidents. They're trying to appease athletic directors. They're trying to appease college coaches, and you're trying to do it under the guise of we're doing what's right for the game. Meanwhile, it seems to me that they're taking their marching orders from the SEC and the Big Ten. And I'm not an anti-SEC or Big Ten guy. I mean, I've been an SEC fan for more years than I can remember for family reasons and what have you. And when I was recruited, I grew up in Big Ten country. But nobody really knows what's going on. And for Matt Painter, who is a very learned guy, and a very level-headed guy, a very measured guy, for him to come out and say that, for him to say, we don't know what's going on, those are his words. That's not me paraphrasing. That's unbelievable. You have guys in college now playing 4 years at 4 different schools. And I think a broader issue here, a broader problem, is we are allowing players to let adversity move them out of a situation and into another one. Here's what I mean. When I was growing up as a player, as a basketball player, there were a couple of I was fortunate that I was good enough, not great, but good enough to be a starter on most teams. But early on, that wasn't the case. I remember sitting the bench 3rd string, my junior high team. And I realize this might be an extreme example, but here's the point. I grew up in an era that when you lost your job, you worked your tail off to get it back. That's what you did. You busted your butt to get your job back. Now, when a guy loses his starting job as the slot receiver, as the lead running back, as QB1, now what you have is players saying, hey, you know what? I'm out. I'm hitting the portal. Unless you pay me a little more. Pay you more? Pay you more? Let's just say we're talking about a quarterback. You threw for 58%, 17 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Why should I pay you more? Well, because I'm going to go somewhere else. And I think we have allowed players to essentially run the asylum. And it's maddening to me to see this. So that's one of the things that I think fundamentally is problematic with college football right now. Another thing is the idea that they could just transfer at will. Just transfer. I have been on this forever. As long as I've been in this crazy, wonderful business, I've been on the train of players need to be able to move. I think about, was it Willie Taggart who took over at Oregon? He was there for 11 months.
And then went to Florida State.
Right. When he got to Oregon, when he got up to Eugene, he sold that group of fans and donors and alums, he sold them the ranch and all the property with it. I love Eugene. We are going to make our home here. This is just right. For 11 months later, he's gone because Florida State came calling, and he was an abject failure at Florida State, so good on him for that happening. But the point is, coaches have always been allowed to come and go as they please. Players sign their letter of intent, they're stuck there. So I'm all for players getting to move. I am not for players getting to move and move and move and move without any repercussions. 916-339-1140 if you want to jump in on this. You may think something entirely different, and I am ready to hear it. I think the sport, I love this sport, Kyle. I love college football. And it's a beautiful sport, and at times I feel like a major hypocrite because I am very well aware of, as are you, and as you are listening to me, of the problems that this sport has sustained, that the sport itself has given to itself. But when those games are being played, I'm sitting in front of my TV watching.
Yeah, and all of this comes back to the original sins, shall we say, is that the sport is built on players not getting compensated, and so you have to essentially rebuild it from scratch while tons of money, more money than there's ever been in the sport, is also being poured into it.
No question.
At the same time, which essentially creates a power vacuum, which then creates people grabbing at the money. Now, fortunately, the players can get more of that than they used to, but they're still not being fairly compensated at the same time while they're jumping from school to school and doing all this stuff.
No question. And Greg, I see you there. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get to you. You know, this Nico Iamaleava is a great example of, to me, what's wrong with the sport. He goes to Tennessee as a much ballyhooed number 1 or number 2 recruit in the nation. He goes to UT. His first game was against Iowa in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. And he plays pretty well. Has a couple of running touchdowns, 2 or 3, another passing touchdown. They shut out Iowa. And it looked like it was going to be a big year for him. When he played last year, not this current season, but last year, he was average to good. He was getting $2 million. He was going to be getting $2 million, $2 million, $2 million, $2 million. That was it. He had an average year at best. One of the most notable plays that he had as the $2 million man at Tennessee was the last play of the game against Arkansas in Fayetteville. He had a couple of guys open in the end zone, didn't see them. Time is running out, and what does he do? He ran out of bounds. It's like, Nico, you just throw the ball. Pass the ball into the end. Let somebody try to make a play. Running out of bounds, the clock expired. It's game over. That was a metaphor for his entire year at UT. But the reason I bring him up is because he had an average to good year. He did not look like the guy that was getting so many headlines written about. And his father, known as Big Nick, his father wanted Tennessee to double what they were paying him. He wanted them to pay $4 million. And that was when head coach Josh Heupel, athletic director Danny White said, "It ain't happening. Hit the road." And it turned into a big fiasco. The day before the spring game, and then the day of spring game, he was nowhere to be found, and then he ended up finding his way to UCLA. But that is part and parcel where we are at right now with college football. And goes back to to the Matt Painter quote, and that is, who is in charge? What is happening that makes sense in this sport right now.
Meanwhile, I saw all the headlines today that transfer portal window opens up, 1,700 football players are available to be acquired, and you just finished the quarterfinals of the playoff, which means that Miami, Ole Miss, Indiana, and Oregon, they're still playing, but they also have to build their rosters for next year. Teams that just lost yesterday have to start building their rosters for next year. The entire reason why Lane Kiffin was not allowed to stay at Ole Miss because he had to go early to LSU is for today when the transfer portal window opens up and all of these players, former 5 stars all the way down to FCS guys and D2 guys, are available in the transfer portal.
To your point, less than 45 minutes after Alabama had been thrashed in the Arroyo Seco in Pasadena, you had the first one of the players in Alabama, I forget who it was, and it doesn't matter, announcing he was transferring. He's going to the portal. He's probably not even showered yet, and his people are announcing that he's in the portal. That's unbelievable to me.
That reminds me of when like Garrett Cole after the World Series had like the generic hat.
Yes.
It's like, yes, I know I'm hitting free agency tonight.
It's unbelievable. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this, what needs to change in the NCAA. Greg, we're going to get to you, and we'll get to your calls as well, other calls as well. 916-339-1140. Always happy to welcome your thoughts. This is the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. I'm CG. This is Sactown Sports 1140.
Year-end pricing's in effect. Every vehicle's priced to sell before the new year during Happy Honda Days. At Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Get behind the wheel of your new Accord or Civic today. Own or lease during Happy Honda Days at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda. Visit us at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Get more for your money at Elk Grove Chevrolet, where value meets style. Lease a new Chevrolet Trax for just $199 per month plus tax. Enjoy its roomy backseat, flat rear window, and simple, attractive interior packed with an 11-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay, and wireless charging. The Trax delivers more for less. Visit myelkgrovechevrolet.com today for full lease details and see why the Trax is such a smart choice.
Guys, if your energy is low, your strength isn't what it used to be, or your drive feels off, it's not just getting older. For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, you can start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation so you get real answers about your testosterone levels and overall health. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. This isn't guesswork or one-size-fits-all treatment. Revive specializes in personalized, closely monitored testosterone care designed to help men feel stronger, sharper, and more like themselves again. With over 120,000 patients treated since 2011, Revive Men's Health is trusted for results, not hype. If you've been putting this off, Now is the time to act. Claim your free T-check and consultation and see if you qualify for 25% off TRT. This month only. Call 916-619-3000. That's 916-619-3000. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
On Sactown Sports.
47 yards. And it is good! Right down the middle! Georgia fans dealing with the reality, something that never happens. Blown fourth quarter leads under Kirby Smart.
Sean McDonough. Nobody quite like him, except maybe Joe Tessitore. Those guys are awesome. That was the Ole Miss game last night. You know, you thought the game was over, and then it wasn't, because we had to go through penalty and the onside kick, which when it was recovered, the clock by rule doesn't start. It seemed like we waited an extra 45 minutes, Kyle, before we got to the inevitable conclusion, which is Ole Miss had beaten Georgia.
The biggest win in maybe program history for Ole Miss?
Yeah, it's been about 60 years since they've been this relevant. They've had a lot of changes down in Oxford. It's a great school, and have times changed. And Lane Kiffin is no longer the story. 916-339-1140. Greg, I know you've been waiting. Appreciate it. Good morning to you. Happy New Year. Welcome to the program.
CJ, how are you, my friend?
Doing very well. What?
This is really fun.
Yeah, go right ahead. Go right ahead. I'll just shut up and stop interrupting you.
I just wanted to say something about the Kings for a second. You know, you were talking about the fans. You know what the Kings did when they came to town in 1985? I got to go to the first game. And either one of you know who scored the first the first points for the Kings?
Who?
That would have been the incredibly talented Reggie Theus. He scored the first basket. But the thing is, the one thing the Kings did when they first got here back in the 80s was they came in, they got involved in the community, they loved them. And 40 years later, win or lose, they always have a huge crowd. And they made their home in Sacramento, and you can learn from what the Kings do. They are an amazing, they get involved with the community, and the community supports them. And I think that any team that can come to Sacramento, it would be a great thing for them, because they'll learn what the Kings learned, in that the town loves them and they love the town. And I think that's the key.
Well, Greg, first of all, you're breaking up a little bit. I appreciate the phone call. Happy New Year to you. I couldn't agree with you more. One of the great things, we're talking college football here, but I'm glad you brought that up about the crowd, because one of the things, going back to Arco, the first Arco Arena, there was a couple of versions of it. Was there not?
There was the warehouse Arco Arena and then the actual Arco Arena.
Yeah, as Greg was pointing out just now, and Greg is somebody who is he's not from this area. I know Greg. Greg lived and worked in Sacramento. This fan base is tremendous. The support that they give is not only apparent every home game, but they are loud. They understand the impact that they can have on games. I've always been impressed with Kings crowds here, and I just feel like it would be nice to see them have a consistent winner. You and I have discussed this on the program this morning. You know, some franchises consistently win and some consistently don't. And you can start to find through lines within those franchises across different sports why that is the case.
Yeah, I don't know how or why it comes to be. And the Kings story is very interesting when you think about the team almost being gone and everything they had to do to keep it around. But for me personally, looking at it, my first year working in sports was here at this station, and it was that Beam Team season, and it just felt magical. And I don't know if it feels this way in other places where you win consistently and you're going to conference championships and finals and things like that, but it just felt so magical to see a team that has done nothing but lose for 17 years have that incredible season where everyone's having fun and everyone's into it. And I get worked up thinking about it. It's great.
As long as you open that, I know we're talking college football here, but as long as you opened that doorway, let me just say this about magical. I've lived in New York and Philadelphia, Chicago, Minneapolis, L.A., and I think there is something to the magical quality of Sacramento because this is, save for the A's, this is and you have soccer here, of course, but in terms of the major sports, you're a one-team town. And I think there is something about that makes wins special. When you're in New York, you've got so many teams. And it's not that the fans are any less passionate. There's no arena in the NBA more electric than Madison Square Garden. You could talk about Barclays Center. It's a cute little place. It's very nice in Brooklyn. Barclays Center ain't the Garden. That place is electric. But the Knicks get lost in the shuffle with the Yankees, with the Rangers, across the river with the Giants and the Jets. It's just, there's so many teams. In Chicago is a 5-team town. You know, the Cubs and White Sox, it's 3-1 Cubs fans to White Sox fans. My family came from the South Side, even though I grew up on the North Side, so we were Sox fans. But in Chicago, that is 365 days a year, the Bears. Still, though, you're talking about 5 teams. We've all been to San Francisco many, many times, and it was certainly exciting if you're a San Franciscan. It was exciting in the 3 World Series in 6 years that the Giants won. All of that, the 5 Super Bowls, the Niners. But I'm not taking anything away from all those teams, their fans, and what they've accomplished. But I think there's something different. It's almost college townish. And this is a college town. But you know what I'm saying? In college, when you go to Lincoln, Nebraska, it's the Cornhuskers. When you go to Knoxville, Tennessee, it's the Vols. When you go to Tuscaloosa, it's Alabama. And here, it's the Kings.
Yeah, and look at what just happened with Oklahoma City and their finals last year. That is the only thing in town. It's a relatively new thing. I mean,
yeah.
When the Kings playoff drought started, the Oklahoma City Thunder didn't even exist. And I remember someone from Oklahoma City did a side-by-side of the intro video from 2012 finals when they came to Oklahoma City and the intro video from 2025. And the entire skyline looks different in Oklahoma City. The river looks different. Like, you can see change happening in real time through this basketball team. And I think that's another special part of being an Oklahoma City or Sacramento, where the only time you really see them on ABC or national television is when their basketball team is putting together great games.
Yeah, that's a great point. My first time in Oklahoma City was driving across I'm not going to say it was a cow town, but there was not much going on. And now, I mean, a lot of people, University of Oklahoma is just up the road, like a half an hour. Norman is just up the road from Oklahoma City. And really, that area was vastly more known for that. Going back to the days of Bud Wilkinson and those great Sooners teams, going on to Barry, why am I
Switzer.
Barry Switzer. Jeez, I was drawing a blank there for a second. Barry Switzer and on and on. But with Oklahoma City, with the rise when they moved from Seattle, and with the rise of their franchise, and you had that team with Durant and Harden and Westbrook, and they were heavily involved in the community, and suddenly those folks there had an immediate uplift in civic pride. And that's always what I've sensed when I've come to Sacramento about the Kings. But to bring this back to what we were talking about with college football, a couple of minutes here. I think college football, and obviously I'm not breaking news here. College football needs to get a hold of what's going on here. The playoff is a great thing. I know that folks said that, well, when they increase it to 12, the regular season is not going to matter. I beg to differ, because having more teams means you can take an early loss and still have a chance, and the regular season is what gives you that chance. It's not going to minimize the importance of the regular season. But there needs to be some sense of loyalty from players. There needs to be a revivification of why players are going to schools. And maybe I'm being too idealistic here, But it used to be about getting an education. Heaven forbid you're going to college to get an education.
Oregon might not go back to Oregon for 3 weeks.
They might go, yes. They're going to be hanging out in underground Atlanta, going to the varsity for a chili dog, maybe taking in a Hawks game. But it used to be about winning. Winning mattered. Now, how much you going to pay me? How much am I getting? And I get it. It's evolving. Things have changed, but the adults need to find their way back to the doorway, to the room that says adults only. And the adults in the room in Indianapolis need to start figuring some stuff out. The College Football Playoff Committee, they're based, that whole group is based down in Texas. All of these individuals need to take a more active role in figuring out what the immediate and long-term future of this sport is. I mean, for a while there, teams were moving conferences the way people blink their eyes. It's ridiculous. And I mean, this is another problem with the sport. You look at Stanford and Cal, two legendary East Coast cities now in the ACC.
By the way, Louisville, Stanford today, if you want to go drive out there.
Boy, wouldn't that be great?
You can go watch Louisville basketball.
Heavens, wouldn't that be wonderful? Palo Alto and Berkeley in the ACC. It's ridiculous. And part of that, now I'm gonna upset their alums. I'm speaking more about Stanford now. Now I'm going to go off on a tangent here. Part of it is because they're so full of themselves about not wanting to be associated with Mountain West teams. And well, we don't care about San Jose State and Fresno State, and these schools are just not at our level. Well, athletically, they do pretty well when they play you, generally speaking. And the fact that nobody has thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had you want to have a 14, 16, 18 team conference? Why not have SC, UCLA, Stanford, Cal, Oregon, Oregon State, Washington State, and San Diego State, Boise State, Colorado State, Utah State, Fresno State. Throw in Gonzaga like you've already done. You cut down travel. You heighten the academic component, as opposed to the women's volleyball team at Stanford going 3,000 miles to take on Wake Forest. 2-hour match, shower, get back on the plane and come 3,000 miles the other way. It's ridiculous. All right, it's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. I'm CG, in for the boys. They're taking some much-needed time off. My guy, Kyle Ledbetter, behind the glass. This is Sactown Sports, 1140.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The holiday rush continues at your California Ford dealers. The Ford year-end sell-a-thon is on. Now through January 2nd, get our best offers across the most popular Ford trucks and SUVs. From America's best-selling Ford F-Series trucks for 48 years, the legendary F-150 and Super Duty, to the Bronco family of SUVs for those who don't wait for adventure to begin. Plus, all-electric standouts like the Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning. And Explorer and Escape, the perfect balance of comfort, capability, and everyday versatility. Get ready to power through whatever the season brings in a Ford. But don't wait. These year-end sell-a-thon savings won't last. The clock's ticking. The lots are moving. And these are the season's biggest savings on an incredible selection of Ford vehicles. Rush in before the sell-a-thon and the savings are over January 2nd. Get to your California Ford dealers today. Claim based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year industry reported total.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
The Sactown Sports 49ers Report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. Niners win a huge game on Sunday night versus Chicago 42-38. Brock Purdy was outstanding. He accounted for 5 touchdowns, throwing for 300 yards and 3 TDs, rushed for 2 more, while Christian McCaffrey rushed for 181 yards from scrimmage and had a touchdown as well. Niners finished the regular season Saturday with Seattle, with the winner getting the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Catch the game this Saturday beginning at 4 right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sactown Sports 1140.
The Carmichael Dave Show.
He's on the microphone when he's not on the microphone. He's playing a song, and when he's not playing a song, he's on the microphone, and then boom.
With Jason Ross.
No, he didn't. Yes, he did.
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross on Sactown Sports.
Meanwhile, straightaway 3 scored by Derek White. He didn't score early, but he's been scoring late. He and Brown have taken control of the ballgame. Celtics have the biggest lead for either club, now up by 10. The final score is 120-106. Sacramento now slides to 8-26, and they've got a game to play in less than 24 hours in Arizona.
And the game went that fast. Just like that. 2 minutes, it was over. It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. I'm CG, in from KMJ in Fresno. Glad to be with you this morning. 916-339-1140. That's how you text, call, whatever you like. Kyle Ledbetter, superb, doing what he does behind the glass. You know, you say behind the glass, it sounds so he's behind glass. Like nobody lets him out of there.
Well, no, I live in this little 10-foot by 15-foot box of a room.
It's very cozy.
It is cozy, but it also has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different computers in here that all do different things.
Mind-boggling. Before we talk about the Kings Celtics game last night, 120-106, the Celtics win. A much, much closer game than that score indicates. I had a couple of issues with some technical stuff, and imagine that's a keyboard. Kyle is a couple of years younger than me.
Just a little bit.
Just a couple. And he is of that era, of that group of young people like my daughters, that when people like me, and I mean, I'm not that old, I don't think.
But you have children that are...
I have children that are one that's roughly your age.
Yeah, the same generation as the man you're doing a working show with.
Exactly. And I will have some issue on my laptop, some issue with something. And what the Kyle Ledbetters of the world do is this. They'll come in, CG, just hold us. Can I sit there for a second? And then on the keyboard, he'll do this. There you go. It's fixed. And it's just like that. And it's maddening. And I'll say, Kyle, that's great. What'd you do there? He's like, probably take me too long to explain it to you. I'm good with that now. It's taken me years to accept that, but you know what? I don't need to have it explained because you just fixed it.
It's the old phrase of teach a man to fish and he'll never go hungry. Why do I need to learn how to fish?
That's right. And when you grow up on the north side of Chicago, the only way that I know how to fish is the fish that I'm selecting from the market. That's it.
Exactly.
I've gone fishing one time And somebody tried to teach me how to fish, and I was an abject disaster.
When you have elite fishermen all around you who have lived this life, you never need to hunger.
That is exactly right. All right, a little bit later, we're going to give you a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to see the Harlem Globetrotters at Golden One Center. That is going to be 17 days from now, January 19th, 6 p.m. Harlem Globetrotters, they're going to be coming to Golden One Center with their 100-year tour centennial celebration. Gave you the dates, January 19th. A couple of games, 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. Gravity-defying dunks, game-changing tricks. Fans, you're going to feel the history, the joy, the fun that only the Globetrotters can deliver. If you've never seen them, they are a blast. They're doing basically the same things they've done for multiple generations, but it's still amazing when you watch them, throw a hook shot in from half court on the first try. I mean, it's just remarkable.
And they're able to do it every time.
Every time. The practice that goes into that is unbelievable. All right, the practice that goes into NBA teams is equally unbelievable. And last night, on one screen, I'm watching Ole Miss, Georgia. On my phone, I've got the Sacramento Kings and the Boston Celtics. And this looked like, for all the money in the world, that Sacramento was going to win this game. They came to play. I mean, they between DeRozan and Schrader, they came to play. They looked really good.
They outscored the Celtics in the first quarter, which usually doesn't happen.
Yes, albeit by 1 point, but we'll take that.
This year they usually don't.
That's right. So we'll take that. It was 88-88 going into the fourth quarter, and then things did not go well in the fourth quarter. The Celtics started out, on a little bit of a run, and with about 6 minutes to go, the Kings came to I think it was 104 or 106-100. And in this game, and this is probably a stat that you've never heard. This was developed years ago by a legendary statistician for the Philadelphia 76ers. He had spent 20 years running scores on NBA games, every NBA game of every year for about 20 years. And what he discovered was the team that gets to 100 first wins 96% of the time. Now, obviously, if you don't get to 100, it's a moot point. But it's just one of those things where I want you to just, when you're watching games, after I'm back down to 99 and you're watching the game with your buddies and you're trying to get the TV, you're trying to get them to put down the controller watching Stranger Things, and you're trying to watch the Kings, just watch for that team that wins goes to 100. And how many times to this day that stat still works, and it worked last night.
It's probably a more recent phenomenon, too, instead of those 85 to 79 games of the late 90s and early 2000s. But nowadays, pretty much, if you don't see both teams in the hundreds, it's a shocking revelation. Last night was kind of, sort of headed that way, but it was one of those, it was 88-88 at the end. You knew they were going to get to 100 at some point.
And even without Jason Tatum, this is still the Boston Celtics. This is still a team that is having a very good year. I believe they're the number 3 seed right now.
They're 9 games over 500.
Yeah, they're having a really good year. Pretty much similar to what they had last year. I thought defensively, again, switching back and forth between games, but I thought defensively, the Kings, by and large, played pretty well for 3 quarters. I mean, they were right there. And we're not talking about moral victories here. I don't believe in the term upset, were the Kings going to upset the Celtics? Everybody's paid a lot of money in professional sports to win games. These are the best players on the planet in every sport. So I don't believe in the term upset. But I thought the Kings were right there, but they just, I don't understand. This is the part of not seeing the Kings night in and night out. You mentioned they outscored them in the first quarter, 29-28. They get outscored in the second quarter, 34-32. It's a 1-point game at halftime. Kings outscoring by a point in the third. It's 88 all. And then they get outscored by 14 points in the fourth quarter. And this is where I look to a guy like a Russell Westbrook that I'm expecting him, and maybe I'm expecting too much. Because, as I said, I've always enjoyed the ferocity that he plays with, and that he plays at about 120 miles an hour every game. And that's what I expect a guy like a Russell Westbrook to take over in one way or another, not necessarily scoring, but a guy to lead at the defensive end and then lead after, hopefully, you get a stop and lead at the offensive end. I'm looking for somebody to help your team, help the Kings close out, and they just did not have that last night.
No, this is fourth quarter Russell Westbrook stats, 0 for 4 from the field, 0 for 4 on three-pointers. He had no assists, no rebounds, 2 free throws, minus 11 in 8.5 minutes in that fourth quarter.
The plus-minus is always a great indicator. Right? He was minus 11.
Yes.
That's just not acceptable.
And the other one, DeMar DeRozan, who again, former Clutch Player of the Year finalist, was known for his fourth quarter heroics, 2 for 5 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, hit 4 free throws, 1 assist, minus 14. Obviously, he played all 12 minutes, but minus 14 in the fourth quarter.
Kings forced 13 turnovers. They got killed in points in the paint, which I considering who's out there, not surprised. Maybe getting killed. They got outscored in the paint by 10. But that you look at the stats, and stats aren't always, they're not always going to tell the story. But I think when you look down the page, if you don't look at the final score and you look at the Kings shooting 47% from the field, pretty good. 33% from 3, it's okay. Celtics did better. Rebounds, they got out-rebounded by 8, and that hurt. That absolutely hurt.
Yeah, it's been the story of the year for the Sacramento Kings, especially since Sabonis has been out. I mean, we know Sabonis, great rebounder, everything else, but the combination of Precious Achiuwa and Maxey, they were not a good rebounding team when Sabonis was playing. They are now one of the worst, I think the worst rebounding team in the league since Sabonis went out. What is that now? Almost 2 months
Almost
ago.
2 months, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I look at this lineup, and I've said this a couple of times today. Are the Kings, trading deadline is what, February 15th, is it?
February 5th.
5th. I knew there was a 5 in there. Forgive me. The Kings are at a point right now, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but they are having the kind of year, when you look at their record, that they've got some pieces that other teams are going to come calling on.
We think.
Yeah. And teams get into these cycles where they keep making deals because they're going to get some draft choices, or they're going to get a player, or they're going to get a combo platter of that. And you get into this revolving door of, well, we're not going to call it a rebuild. We're just going to try to retool a little bit, and we'll put in some new pieces. And then you end up getting left with the same type of team the following year, different names, different numbers, same results. And I go back to De'Aaron Fox because I know that he was frustrated. Help me out here. Where was the person in Kings management that took De'Aaron Fox aside and said, listen, I know you're frustrated. I know you're thinking about wanting to go to a winner. We can be a winner. You can be and should be the guy that leads us. Here's what we plan on doing to make this happen. I'm going to guess that if that was done, it wasn't done emphatically enough.
No. You want to know what they actually did?
Tell me.
They themselves tried to trade De'Aaron Fox. And then when that got back to Rich Paul, they decided, here's how we're going to do this. We want to go to one team. You're going to send us to that team, and it's the only team we're going to sign a contract extension to. And the Kings immediately folded their hand and sent him to the team they wanted to go to.
And this is why certain organizations, and maybe it's blasphemous here on Sactown Sports 1140 to be critical, but I can only be me. This is why some teams continue to get the same results year in, year out. NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, NFL. Because, and I'm speaking from experience as a Chicagoan, knowing how the teams in Chicago largely operate. I'm thinking of Jerry Reinsdorf and the nonsensical deals that he has made or not made with Chicago White Sox, or coming out the final year of the second three-peat and saying, well, Jerry Krause said this, we can't wait to see how we do without Michael. Well, they haven't done squat since they let that team dissipate.
Except for that one Derrick Rose season.
And the problem with that was they were one of the two teams that were considered a favorite to come out of the East, and Derrick Rose tore his ACL in the opening game of the playoffs against the 76ers in Chicago.
Yep.
And that's the Bulls have never been the same. But when I look at the Kings, I'm looking at a franchise that makes some moves that I'm looking at from down the road 150 miles and saying, what are we doing here? Why are you doing that?
Well, and now that I think the first part, and we've talked about this before, is when it came to breaking up the quote-unquote beam team, they wanted to continue competing. And I know you mentioned the Bulls. Every time we mention the Bulls, we have to bring up that this is the Sacramento Bulls, and they have Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan.
Right.
But they kind of fell into that by accident. They had brought in DeRozan for one version of the team. Then they traded Fox for a package centered around Zach LaVine, and kind of by accident ended up with this LaVine-DeRozan combination. But they tried to keep building a winner in the short term. Clearly hasn't panned out that way, in part because of injuries. I don't know how great the ceiling would have been for this team, but Keegan Murray and Domantas Sabonis haven't played a single minute on the floor together this season, and Zach LaVine's been out for a number of different injuries. So combination of injuries and poor roster construction, it's not going to work. And now I think, to your point, is kind of the time where you just take your lumps, say it's been messed up, and they're going to go to the bottom of the lottery for a year or two.
Somebody listening to me, and boy, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think the Kings should do or shouldn't do between now and before February 5th, 916-339-1140. This is where I tend to err on the side of not necessarily moving a player doesn't mean as an organization you're not doing anything. Sometimes it's not a bad thing to invest in who you have, believing that you can do some things moving forward. And I think, and again, I'm going to say it again. I understand De'Aaron Fox, it's water under the bridge. He's there. He's in San Antonio. He's happy. You know, he's taking magical walks down the river walk with Wemby, and they're having a great time. I get it. But I don't get a franchise, and I said this when he was moved on my program. I don't get a franchise that has to me, a guy who is at the precipice of stardom, a guy who can be a tremendous player, and somebody who, figuratively speaking, probably they're building a statue of someday outside Golden One Center. And maybe that's excessive.
At least a jersey retirement.
A jersey retirement. You know, maybe he gets a small street named after him.
Maybe in Folsom.
Yeah.
Maybe not in downtown. But
yeah, not downtown, unless you become an MVP and then you get a downtown street. But I have always been with teams that I look at, whether I'm teams that I'm following or teams that I cover, I always err on the side of if you've got a guy who is an absolute legit star or star in the making, you tell those other teams we get to near the trading deadline, hey, you know what? You can have your run of any of these guys, but you can't have him. He's ours. We're building around him. That's the guy that we want. That's where I get the other point of view. I do. And obviously they went the other way, but I'm just a believer that when you get a guy, sometimes, you know, when Michael Jordan came out of North Carolina, I remember seeing him in college. I remember I was at Madison Square Garden, and his Tar Heels came up to play St. John's. It wasn't a tournament or anything like that. It was a December game. And for those of us who remember Michael, and at times he was then Mike Jordan, before it switched to Michael. But, and I see our caller there. I see AC there. We're going to get to you just a second. He came to the Garden, and there were a lot of people, myself included, that said, who is this guy? How good is this guy? North Carolina's taking on St. John's. St. John's was ranked about right at the same place they were. When Jordan left Madison Square Garden that day, 35 points later, and an array of dunks, incredible playmaking, great defensive plays, I walked out of there thinking, this guy's amazing. But I still never imagined that he was going to be the player that he ultimately became when he went to Chicago as the third pick in the draft after Houston took Olajuwon, Portland took Sam Bowie, who was in Portland. Folks there still get upset about that because poor Sam was always injured just like he was at Kentucky.
Well, at least they got it right later on with Greg Oden, right?
Yeah, there you go.
At least they didn't make the literal same mistake again.
That's a great point. But Jordan went above and beyond. And my point here, if it's not already obvious, is De'Aaron, I don't think by any stretch of the imagination had fully come into his own yet here in Sacramento. But you have a guy who, even as somebody like myself, watching him from a distance, could see what a tremendous talent he was. And I always think about that series that they played against the Warriors. The Warriors won, forget which year that was, a couple years ago, but he was unconscious.
Yeah, I think before the injury, he was averaging 35 points a game in the series.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So that's where I'm at on this. Maybe you think differently, and I'm all about that. 916-339-1140. Is it AC? AC, good morning to you.
Right.
Good morning, my friend. Happy New Year to you. Welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for filling in and saying some kind words about Sacramento and giving us the benefit of the doubt. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But the reality is, this is a team that I've followed forever. I watch all 82 games every year. I've been to a few games myself, obviously. And this is a team that one time, might even be before Kyle's time, we were relying on the sixth best player on a championship Houston Rockets team. Do you remember a guy named Rodney McRae?
Oh, absolutely. He came out of Louisville, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a guy that the Kings were actually leaning on as their star player at one point. That's how bad and sorry this franchise is. And De'Aaron Fox left simply because he didn't want to play for another coach. And the biggest mistake the Kings made before that was hiring Luke Walton. That was a monster mistake, and he was a horrible coach, and he's washed out. He's not going to ever be a head coach again.
Let me stop you right there. Stay with me here. Boy, I couldn't agree with you more on Luke Walton. I never understood that hire. When Mike Brown came in, and then Mike Brown it wasn't this fast, but sometimes it seems like Mike Brown was here and gone in the blink of an eye. I really felt like he needed a little bit more time. Am I wrong in saying that I felt the Kings jumped the gun a little bit in cutting him loose that fast?
Well, the Kings have a history of that, and ironically, Kyle will probably chuckle about this. There's a beautifully talented coach out there right now who's not working for a team. He was a Sacramento Kings coach, and he won a championship with the Denver Nuggets. But we're probably never going to hire him because he said bad things about our owner firing Coach Brown too early.
How do you AC, last thing for you, and I appreciate you hanging with us here. I always like to look at ownership of teams because, and again, you've heard me mention this morning being a Chicagoan. I mean, I'm 11 years in California now. I love being out in this state. Certainly love being in Sacramento. Come up here a lot. But being raised in Chicago, we are used to, Chicago had their years with the Bulls. Blackhawks won 3 Stanley Cups. The Bears in 85. The Cubs in 16. The White Sox in 05. But more often than not, Chicago has been Cirque du Soleil in sports. It's just been a high wire act and just people doing the wrong things, wrong coaches getting hired, wrong coaches getting fired too soon. And it's ownership. From Jerry Reinsdorf to the McCaskey family to the Ricketts family with the Cubs, just goes on and on. When you look at your ownership here with the Sacramento Kings, you've been a fan a long time, AC. What is your immediate take? What comes to mind when someone says, hey, AC, how do you feel about ownership of the Kings?
Well, ironically, the ownership now is kind of like that bad girlfriend that you had once, where she's pretty psycho, but she's gorgeous, and you had to put up with the psycho stuff, and eventually it just led to a bad breakup, right? And maybe that's where we'll go someday, because remember, this is a guy that rescued us from losing our team for good, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a bittersweet, double-edged sword, whatever cliche you want to use. By the way, let me take you back and remind you about two beautiful things. When Michael Jordan was playing and I took my kids to go see him play with Dennis Rodman decked out in his leopard print afro, this is the beauty of before cell phones. No other player did this happen to. I go to the arena. Every time Jordan touched the ball, the arena lit up like it was on fire. It's because there was no cell phones. They were all flash cameras. And he was that special.
Yes.
That is a special athlete. No other player I ever saw in an arena had that kind of effect. And Sacramento was all over it. We got a couple visits from the Bulls because they're Eastern Conference team. And that one visit I took my son to, fantastic. So by the way,
go ahead.
You can get you live here now, but you can get Giordano's pizza and put it through the checkout line at the airport. They will pass that Giordano's pizza through there.
AC, hold on. Giordano's is what you're talking about. That is my favorite pizza place in Chicago. They have the best deep dish because they make their own sausage. I'm with you on that. I've actually ordered them online. You talk about Jordan and the Flash. You really make a great point here because these days people are so interested, fans at concerts as well, are so interested in capturing the moment on their camera when more often than not, AC, no one's going to go back and look at that. Be in the moment, live in the moment, and enjoy the moment instead of videoing it.
By the way, one more Chicago throw out there. I went to the game where Sammy Sosa hit his 62nd out, maybe, I can't remember. It was against the Padres, and it was the same effect. Flash bulbs every time he took a cut with the bat. And the hilarious part was if you wanted to get a burger or a beer, when he came up to bat, that's when you went to the snack bar because the snack bar is emptied every time he came to the plate.
That's a great point. That's a great point. By the way, you mentioned the psycho girlfriend. Do we know each other? Do you know my background?
No, but you need to go online and look at the crazy date matrix. There's a guy that put on a thing of, hot to crazy. And Kyle might have even heard of it.
That's awesome. AC, thank you for the phone call. That's great stuff. Listen, I told you, he opened a couple of doorways there that we could easily go down. I told you about the giveaway. Harlem Globetrotters. We want you to win a family 4-pack of tickets to see the Harlem Globetrotters. It's going to be at Golden One Center, of course, on January 19th. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Let's see. It's what lucky caller are we looking for, Kyle? Let's see. It's January 2nd, so it's 1-2. How about we go with caller number 3 to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the 6 p.m. game on January 19th at Golden One Center. Caller number 3, 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140. If you're caller number 3, you're going to win a family 4-pack of tickets to see the Globetrotters January 19th, 6 p.m. game, Golden One Center. This is the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. I'm CG. This is Sactown Sports, 1140.
Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert. John Party. Chris Young. Turnpike Troubadours. Dylan Scott and more. Line dancing live DJs, Mechanical Bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. Country in the Park. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. More info at CITBfest.com.
Guys, low energy, low drive, or strength not what it used to be? For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation to get real answers. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. Call 916-619-3000 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply. Must medically qualify.
Coach Christie here letting you know the year-end sell-a-thon is on at Folsom Lake Ford, and with your approved credit, get 0% financing plus 0 down, plus no payments for 90 days on select new Fords. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford today. Interest accrues from date of purchase.
At InShape, there's a place for every kind of mover. The Sometimer, the early riser, after-work grinder, the yogi, lifter, walker, runner, soft seeker, recoverer. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Sactown sports fans, when the final buzzer sounds, the real action is just getting started. If you live for big moments, big crowds, and unforgettable nights, you'll find them all right here on the Sactown Sports live events calendar. Get ready to laugh until it hurts with Daniel Tosh, live January 24th at the venue at Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Then turn the volume all the way up with Ernest, bringing high energy country to Ace of Spades January 31st. Slow it down and vibe out when Jodeci delivers the classics live February 15th at Hard Rock Live Sacramento. Experience iconic sounds and the smooth style of Chris Isaac February 28th at Hard Rock Live Sacramento. And rock legends Jefferson Starship take the stage March 15th at Hard Rock Live Sacramento. Comedy, concerts, legendary performances. Find every show, every day, and plan your next big night out with the Sactown Sports live events calendar. Play hard, rock harder, only on Sactown Sports.
It's the most wonderful time of the year because the season of Toyotathon is on with incredible deals you don't want to miss. For Toyotathon, get low 1.99% financing plus $1,000 finance cash on the 2025 Tacoma. Or get low 2.99% financing plus $1,000 finance cash on the 2026 Tundra. Hurry because Toyotathon ends January 5th. Toyota, let's go places. Offer available through TFS to buyers with premium rated credit and cannot be combined with other offers. Finance cash must be applied to transaction.
Sources, and he just kind of tells it as it is and gets to the point.
Jason Ross.
He has a lot of pretty smart things to say.
He's good at what he does.
On Sactown Sports.
First show of the new year here on Sactown Sports 1140. I am honored to be here. In for Carmichael Dave, Jason Ross. The boys taking some time off, hopefully sleeping in, enjoying themselves. Having a little breakfast. I'm CG from Christopher Gabriel from, that's a lot of syllables, from KMJ in Fresno.
Still fewer than Carmichael Dave, I believe.
I think, yes, you are correct about that. My math skills, iffy.
Might be a tie.
Tie. Carmichael Dave, Christopher Gabriel. Oh, I think I've got him. It's just, it takes a long time to get my name out.
Yeah, because you're CG.
CG is just, it's a lot easier. But great to be here. Of course, that is the superb producer Kyle Ledbetter. Boy, it's, if you just pull the curtain a little bit, if you my audience, they know that I don't blow smoke. If these programs, the reason these programs here at Sactown Sports 1140 run so effortlessly is because of guys like Kyle, because they know what they're doing. It's a hard job. It's the job that I started with in radio, and I never did it as well. I never did it as well as Kyle does. So everything rolling along beautifully. And boy, just the phones just, lit up.
Oh, people wanted those Harlem Globetrotter tickets. I'll tell you what.
Bring the kids. Those are great fun when you see those guys out on the court.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to Joe in Roseville. He was our winner for today.
Right on, Joe. Thanks for listening, and go enjoy yourself. That's on, what is it, the 19th? January 19th?
The 19th, yes.
All right, 6 p.m. show. Well, it is time, Mr. Ledbetter, for 4 Down Territory.
Yes, a staple of the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. First down, CG, what is the game you are most excited to watch this weekend, Week 18 in the NFL?
Well, you would think that I should say it's the Bears and the Lions, but that is not the game that I am most excited to see. The game that I am most excited to see is the one not too far from here, and that is the Seahawks and the 49ers. That could be the game of the year. Obviously, so much on the line, the number 1 seed. You said earlier, you think that the only way the 49ers get to the Super Bowl in their home stadium is to be the number 1 seed. I think that we're going to see how these 2 quarterbacks, Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold, how they perform under this kind of pressure. I mean, obviously, Brock Purdy has been on the big stage already in his young career, But this is a big moment. I thought, by the way, the Bears game with the Bears 49ers, I thought that was the loudest I've heard Levi Stadium since when I covered the Alabama-Clemson National Championship game there in 2019. Couldn't hear myself think. It sounded deafening, and that was just on TV. So for me, that is the absolute game of the weekend. That is the one that I'm looking forward to watching. I do think the Niners are going to win this game. I think that Brock Purdy is going to outperform Sam Darnold. I don't care how healthy or not healthy Christian McCaffrey is. I like the Niners in this game.
I think I'm with you on the game of the week. It's got to be this or the Baltimore-Pittsburgh battle, and we don't know if Lamar Jackson is going to play or not. So
that's exactly right. So that's where I'm at with that.
All right, second down. How many NFL coaches do you think will be fired on this year's annual Black Monday?
Ooh, boy, that's a good one.
I'm trying to think. So Dayball's already been fired by the Giants.
Correct.
Am I forgetting? Oh, the Titans fired their coach.
Yeah, that seems to be an annual thing.
I think those are the only two so far.
It seems like, and I may have this number wrong, but I feel like we see 5 to 7 fired every year on Black Monday. I'm going to go with 6. And the one that I'm really curious about whether he retains his job is Pete Carroll with the Raiders. Because the Raiders went to Pete Carroll because they didn't get Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, 2 years ago, he was a hot commodity. He said, no, I'm staying. So Ben Johnson, then when the Bears job opened up, that's where he wanted to be. He's an NFC North kind of guy. That's one of the reasons why I think that game's going to be interesting. Because if you didn't know it, I can tell you that the Lions, they scored 51 on the Bears. And they were airing it out on fourth down. They were running it up. And hey, I'm okay with that. If I'm a Bear, it's like my job is to stop you. If you're a Lion, your job isn't to go soft on us. But the Bears are going to remember that. But Ben Johnson didn't get to the Raiders, so they thought that, and I did as well, that Pete Carroll, always been a good coach, successful at SC, successful with the Seahawks. He was going to bring this dysfunctional organization together. Mark Davis needs, just pull away, Mark. Go up and stand by the flame in Allegiant Stadium. Enjoy yourself. Light up a cigar. Do whatever the heck you want to do. And let the professionals do it. But this has been a nightmare for the Raiders. They look like a team with no direction, an organization in chaos. I think it's 50-50 whether he goes or not.
Yeah, I'm really stuck on that one. I mean, if you're calling your shot, you would say probably Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals probably gets fired.
Oh, I think he's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's out. Yep.
Probably Raheem Morris with the Falcons. Good chance.
And they have a pretty steady owner.
Yeah.
He doesn't make a lot of rash things. Their owner, the Falcons owner, was the first guy that came up with the $5 concession. Having that run of 13, 14, 15 items that are all $5. And what they found was people were buying more because it was less as opposed to having all the elite items. So he's a good owner, but I think I can see him pulling the trigger on that.
Yeah, that one could be going. Tampa Bay's a weird one. I would not get rid of Todd Bowles, but there was the weird thing where he called out the players after a loss.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's losing the locker room.
Todd Bowles it's not showing this year. I mean, Todd Bowles is a good coach, but there's been enough stuff on the periphery with him, with that, and some other things there that it would not surprise me if he's looking for a job as well.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Same with Steichen in Indianapolis, new owner, daughter coming in, and they had that collapse at the end of the year. I don't know what to do with that one.
When I hear Indianapolis, all I think about is when the Bears decided, you know what? We've got offensive problems. Let's bring in a defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, to solve our issues. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with I think 6. I think 6 guys lose their job.
All right, I like the call. Third down at the end of Sunday. What do you think the NFC playoff picture will be?
The NFC. All right.
We know Seahawks-Niners is for the 1 seed. You've already called your shot on the Niners winning.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna say, yeah. So we have Niners, The Bears will be the second seed, should be the second seed, because I think the Bears are going to beat the Lions. Philly's there, Carolina.
Oh, Carolina over Tampa. Okay.
I'm feeling Carolina. That's kind of where this question was going, right?
Yeah, you're well, that and the Bears hanging on. And
I think those are the 2 points for me that I think that Carolina is going to find a way, and I think the Bears. Maybe I'm thinking with my heart here, but I think the Bears are going to beat the Lions, and I think the Bears are going to try to inflict pain on the Lions in Chicago. So that's where I think that's going to go. But I do think that San Francisco comes out of this with the number 1 seed. I hope they do. I want them to win. No love for the Seahawks. I think that, as I said a few minutes ago, I think that Sam Darnold will be outplayed by Brock Purdy. And as I said in hour number 1, I think Brock Purdy is one of the truly underrated, under-advertised quarterbacks in this league. All the guy does is just go out and make great plays with an infirmary, on this team.
So if they were to get the win, I believe it would, by default, go 5 Seahawks, 6 Rams, 7 Packers.
That is correct. I believe you're correct. And that I believe would force or would give us a Bears-Packers game at Soldier Field.
And a Rams-Eagles first-round matchup.
How great is that? Because the Rams went into Philly last year, and you can make an argument should have won that game.
Yeah, in a non-snow game, they maybe win.
Absolutely. And Bears, I don't even like to call them the team from Brown County, up there with their 3 restaurants, 10 bars, and 2 stoplights. We're happy for them. All right.
What a game that would be. All right, 4th down here. How about we predict the AFC standings? Little less movement at the top, little more movement in the middle.
Yeah. I like Denver to come out of this as number 1.
Yeah, the Chargers are sitting everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And why not? So I think Denver is number 1. The shiny object here is Pittsburgh-Baltimore. Is it not?
That's the big one.
One is in and one is out. The game is in Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh wins this game. I like Pittsburgh at home to win this game and to take a little bit of the heat off of Mike Tomlin, who in answer to your question earlier, I think that Mike Tomlin is under more pressure than John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh's his job is not in jeopardy, to my knowledge.
We don't think so.
We don't think so.
Stranger things have happened.
Exactly, because does he fall into that category of, well, we think that with the roster that we've helped put together, you should be doing more after they lose this game. You should be doing more than an 8-9 season.
Yeah, so you're going...
I'm going Denver, New England, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Houston...
I guess Buffalo and the Chargers.
Buffalo and the Chargers, yeah.
Assuming Buffalo doesn't give up and decide not to win this game. It would go that order, I think.
And I know we need to pause here, but do we need to have a moment of 1 second of silence for the Kansas City Chiefs? No, we don't.
It's my team.
It is?
Yes.
Man, wait.
Here's the thing. I'm not allowed to complain, though, right?
Well, I think you are.
After
I'm kidding. You can't complain.
Yeah, after 5 Super Bowls in 6 years, there's no way.
Yeah, I don't. Yes, and I am not a Taylor Swift hater. I am not at all. I think she's a great artist. I watched her 6-part thing, and I think I don't have any problem with her at games. All the fans were like, "Oh, I'm sick and tired." So maybe she's on the screen for 30 seconds aggregate for an entire game, but. I will just say that I'm stunned at what's happened with the Chiefs this year, and we'll leave it at that. All right, coming up in just a couple of minutes, what's hot, what's not, brought to you by American Energy. Am I right? Is that where we're at?
That is correct, and we've got a special Celebrity Pick 6.
My sources tell me you went through 31 celebrities. They were all busy, so you landed on number 32.
And I think 32 is a great choice.
All right, we will find out who that celebrity is coming up. It is the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, CG in for the boys. This is Sactown Sports 1140.
The Drive Guys, weekdays 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
on Sactown Sports 1140.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing.
Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
FIFA World Cup 2026 is coming soon, but your opportunity to be there starts now through an exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card. For a limited time, become a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card holder, and you will be eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more at BofA.com/cardFWC26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America NA in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. Warrants reserved.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
When value matters, Elk Grove Chevrolet delivers. Right now, lease a new Chevrolet Silverado LT for $250 per month plus tax. The Silverado 1500 stands out with composed handling, competitive towing, payload, roomy cabin, and fuel economy. Visit myelkgrovechevrolet.com for full lease details. Don't miss your chance to drive the new Chevrolet Silverado. Stop by Elk Grove Chevrolet today and experience quality that goes the distance.
The Travel Guys, new on KHTK 1140 every Saturday at 11 a.m.
We'll make you a smarter traveler. Tips you can use on the road and at the airport, plus reports from top consumer advocates.
The Travel Guys, 11 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140.
What's hot?
Yeah, hot. Real hot. And what's not?
It's not good. Brought to you by American Energy Heating and Air, Sacramento's complete heating and cooling company, and second opinion partner.
It is January 2nd. This is the first show of the new year. I am honored to be here. CG from KMJ in Fresno. In for the boys, Carmichael Dave, Jason Ross, Kyle Ledbetter, keeping this program up and running, well-oiled. That's what this is, a well-oiled machine. You want to let us know what you're thinking, 916-339-1140. But right now, I need to ask Kyle a question. Kyle?
CG?
What's hot?
What's hot? How about who's hot right now? We've got the Indiana Hoosiers. Ooh. The Hoosiers won 38-3 yesterday against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Imagine telling a college football fan 4 years ago that Alabama would lose in the playoff by 35 points to Indiana, the team with the most losses in the history of major Division I college football. Indiana won the Rose Bowl for the first time in program history. They had not played in the Rose Bowl since 1967, and they are currently undefeated. If they were to win the national championship, complete an undefeated season, it would be their first undefeated year since going 9-0-1 in 1945.
That is unbelievable. A thought or two about Indiana. Kurt Cignetti is a tremendous coach, and he cut his teeth at smaller schools. You know, he was on Saban's staff, and the president of Kent State called Nick Saban and said, you know, I need a recommendation for a coach. And Nick Saban asked his staff, you know, who's interested. He raised his hand, goes, I'll take it. And Saban said to him, you realize it's one of the worst jobs in college football. And Cignetti said, I don't care. Bring it on. And Cignetti is a no-nonsense, no-frills guy. He is an old-school guy in a new game. You mentioned Alabama getting hammered like that. Kalen DeBoer is actually a friend. He's somebody who I got to know when he was the offensive coordinator for Jeff Tedford at Fresno State, and then when he came back after being the offensive coordinator at Indiana, coming back and being the head coach there. I'll just say this. Alabama is the ratio of fans in Alabama that root for the Tide versus Auburn is like, probably, I don't know, Cubs, White Sox in Chicago. It's a ridiculous number. But I never felt that Kalen should have left Washington. Why would you want to be the guy following the legend? But Indiana, all their, in Assembly Hall, their basketball national championship banners, and here, make room for football, baby.
Yeah, they've got a Rose Bowl title now for Indiana, which a few years ago that no one. I thought it was
incredible.
I thought it was so funny that Indiana football was essentially in the national championship when it was Penix and DeBoer a couple years ago.
Yep.
Now the actual Indiana football is an even better program than what Washington had during that season. It's truly unbelievable. And
their stadium. There are and I'm not joking, there are high school football stadiums in the state of Texas more impressive than Indiana's football stadium. I think after this year, they've made some cosmetic changes. That's going to change.
I would imagine so, given the investment they've made in football. And yeah, Cignetti, again, for IUP to Elon to James Madison, and this is kind of the way now. A lot of these guy like Matt Campbell getting the job at Penn State. A lot of these guys grind their days in FCS and D2 and D3 and eventually make their way to the top ranks of college football.
Yeah, it's an interesting road, and again, there's a lot of good football played at places like the Montana States, North Dakota States, Eastern Washington, and so on, and going to MAC schools like Bowling Green, Akron, Toledo, and so on. IUP. There's some of those schools there, IUP, UIs, they sound like union halls. All right. Tell me, my friend, what's not hot?
What's not is, other than Indiana, teams with a bye in the college football playoff. This is now the second year of the new format. Teams who get a first-round bye are 1-7 in their first college football playoff games. Boise State, Arizona State, Oregon, forgetting someone from last year, and then on down to this year, Texas Tech loses.
Georgia last year,
yeah. Right. Georgia again this year.
Yeah.
Texas Tech losing this year, and of course, Ohio State losing to Miami on Wednesday.
Let me go with what you're saying and offer a little more depth. These number one seeds, well, not number one seeds, these teams with byes that are seeded, 1, 2, 3, 4, prior to the Indiana-Alabama game and Georgia-Ole Miss game, the 6 teams that you were just talking about, Boise State, Arizona State, Oregon, Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas Tech, 4 last year, the two that I just mentioned this year, the total amount of points those 6 teams scored in the first half of their games, 21 points. 21 points. There's a lot of reasons for it. In the Indiana-Alabama game, Indiana obviously bucked the trend. They scored 17 in the first half and just rolled Alabama, as you just mentioned. Georgia had a 21-12 lead in their game against Ole Miss, and then that game just caught fire. But this is where I think, and it goes back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, Kyle, this is where I think it's a disservice to these teams that have earned a bye, that they are then sent, in the case of, Texas Tech, 1,500 miles, 2,000 miles, whatever the case would be, where they're going and they're playing on a neutral field. They're playing in front of a lot of empty seats. Reward these teams. If you're going to give them a bye and you're going to make them wait 23, 24, 25 days to play a football game, reward them by at least allowing them to play a game on campus. And I know that what this does is that it shifts the entire college football playoff, because right now, once you get to the quarterfinals, it's quarterfinals, semifinals, championship game, all tied in with bowls. Well, that is the problem. There are 6 New Year's Day, the traditional New Year's 6.
Traditional as of 10 years ago.
Yes. I mean, the traditional is rose, sugar, cotton, orange. But you add in Fiesta and you add in the Peach Bowl. But those 6, why not have 3 of them be the semifinals in the championship game and rotate those every year and then figure out other bowl games that you want to keep and let the other ones go away. And I know that there's going to be chambers of commerce irate, but really, what is the point when we're watching games in front of 30, 40, 50,000 empty seats?
Yeah, I think Dan Lanning was making the point that the playoffs should start right after conference championship week, then play the quarterfinal the next week, semifinal New Year's Day, and then on from there.
I heard him say that in the presser, and he's absolutely right. There is no good reason why college football is going to be going to the middle or beyond the middle of January. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is a sport that if they need to start it earlier, they talk about week 0, then how about we go week sub-0? But start it earlier or get rid of the conference championship games because those can be useless if they're worried about injuries. That's the other thing. Do we have a minute here?
Yeah, we got a minute or two.
Okay. When I hear certain coaches saying, you know what? We're concerned about the student athlete. Just stop with that. You're concerned. Suddenly they're student athletes again when 5, 6, 7, 8 months earlier, you're talking about 500,000, 800,000, $1 million, $2 million, what you're going to pay these guys. The playoff works just great for these student athletes in Division III, Division II, and FCS. Those athletes are practicing and playing 2 and 3 extra games sometimes. If it works for those student athletes to have 14, 15, 16 game seasons, then it darn well will work for FBS. So I think it is BS when they start saying we're just concerned about having too many games. That's nonsense. When has anybody in college football ever actually been concerned about something other than cashing a bigger check?
Which is what they'll do when they expand the playoff in a couple of years.
That is exactly right. All right. We have a gift card to give away, do we not?
We do.
It's sponsored by Roosters on the River, and it is a $50 gift card. So again, sponsored by Roosters on the River, and we're going to give it to, let's live on the edge. Why don't we give it to caller number 4, 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140, a $50 gift card sponsored by Roosters on the River.
And they are the sponsor for our Celebrity Pick 6, which...
Indeed. Who is your celebrity today?
Well, the celebrity we brought in to guess some games is a guy named, I don't know if you've heard of him before. His name is Christopher Gabriel.
Wow, you must be really scraping the bottom of the barrel for that celebrity.
Well, guess what? He's our Celebrity Pick 6 for today. Just as a note, I believe 5-1 is the best mark so far this season, which I believe was done by Herky the Hornet, the Sac State mascot. So if you can beat Herky the Hornet, you will take over first place at the very end.
I don't need to have a black limousine come up in front of my house with Herky getting out of it.
All right, we've got 6 games.
Okay.
Don't have to pick the spreads, just straight up winners.
Straight up win, okay.
Straight up winners.
All right.
We'll start off Panthers and Bucks.
Well, I already told you, I'm going Panthers in this game. I think the Panthers are going to find a way to get this thing done. Give me Carolina.
Carolina for the win.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have the Seahawks and the 49ers.
Give me the 49ers. I said this earlier. I think that as good a season as Sam Darnold has had, I like Brock Purdy. I like Brock Purdy when the lights are brighter, when the pressure is greater. Give me Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers.
All right. Then we get to Sunday's games. Real barn burner here. How about the Saints and the Falcons?
Well, I'll tell you what. Is there anybody that wants to miss this game? Saints and Falcons.
Saints are on a win streak.
Yeah, they are. They are. I'm gonna go with the home team in this. I'm gonna go with the Falcons closing out their season. They're gonna finish 8-9. I like the Falcons too. They're not going to upset them, but I like the Falcons to win this game.
Does that still have implications for the NFC South? I was trying to pay attention to that. I don't know if it matters anymore.
I'm not sure, and my lean is that it doesn't, but I may be wrong about that.
Yeah, there was something about that earlier in the week. I don't know if it matters or not. Maybe someone can help us.
Okay.
Another barn burner here. How about Cleveland and Cincinnati?
You know, the cities don't like each other. The organizations don't like each other. This has been a forgotten year for both teams. And, Joe Burrow, you never know. Is he healthy? Is he out? Is he healthy? Is he out? The Browns, can they ever find anybody to take over the quarterback position and do it with any kind of aplomb? I'm going Bengals here to close out the Browns. It's a lesser of two Bs.
All right. Well, I think I know where you're going for this one. How about Lions and Bears?
The Chicago Bears are going to be playing in Soldier Field on the lakefront in Chicago, and they are going to kick the living you-know-what out of the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell, his nose is going to be red, his ears are going to be red, his cheeks are going to be red. Give me the Bears, and give me the Bears by double figures.
Oh, you still got that accent in you.
Anytime that we need to do that, and by the way, where's the brat stand in here?
Yeah, we'll find one for you, just like those people in New York City.
That's right.
All right, last one, Baltimore-Pittsburgh.
Yep, we talked about this game a little bit earlier, and I do think I feel like I'm going with a lot of home teams, but I do like Pittsburgh in this game. I think Aaron Rodgers comes out on top on this. I think it takes a little bit of the heat off of Mike Tomlin because, as we discussed earlier, between Tomlin and Harbaugh, who's under more pressure? I do think it's Tomlin. You think it's Harbaugh, and you made a good case for that. But I like Aaron Rodgers to close out with a playoff berth and sends Baltimore home.
All right, those are our picks. They're locked in for Celebrity Pick 6, brought to you by Roosters on the River, which, by the way, people, if you still want the gift card, you can still call in. I haven't picked the winner yet.
How about that? Hey, in fact, let me just throw that number out there again. You know the number, 916-339-1140. And we're at the top of the hour, aren't we? We're going to take a pause here? Is that what we're doing? Let's do that. Okay, this is Carmichael, the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. I'm CG in for the boys today, and this is Sactown Sports 1140.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Toyota-thon is on, and you know what that means. Unbeatable deals on your favorite fuel-efficient Toyota models. Right now, for a limited time, get a low-cost lease on the dynamic 2025 RAV4. Or shop the industry's best lineup of hybrid and electrified vehicles with 19 models to choose from, including the 36 mpg Grand Highlander Hybrid. These are the deals you've been waiting for. Hurry, Toyota-thon ends January 5th. Toyota, let's go places.
At InShape, we have a place for every kind of mover. The Sometimer, the early riser, the after-work grinder, the yogi, lifter, bodybuilder, walker, runner, swimmer, spinner, stretcher, rower, climber, jumper, dancer, boxer, sauna seeker, recoverer. Basically, if you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong at InShape. So whether it's your first time or your first time in a while, start the year strong and join today at InShape.com. Find a location nearest to you.
Year-end pricing's in effect. Every vehicle's priced to sell before the new year during Happy Honda Days. At Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Get behind the wheel of your new Accord or Civic today. Own or lease during Happy Honda Days at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda. Visit us at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Guys, if your energy is low, your strength isn't what it used to be, or your drive feels off, it's not just getting older. For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, you can start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation so you get real answers about your testosterone levels and overall health. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. This isn't guesswork or one-size-fits-all treatment. Revive specializes in personalized, closely monitored testosterone care designed to help men feel stronger, sharper, and more like themselves again. With over 120,000 patients treated since 2011, Revive Men's Health is trusted for results, not hype. If you've been putting this off, now is the time to act. Claim your free T-check and consultation and see if you qualify for 25% off TRT. This month only. Call 916-619-3000. That's 916-619-3000. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
KHD-KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. The Carmichael Dave Show.
He's on the microphone when he's not on the microphone. He's playing a song, and when he's not playing a song, he's on the microphone, and then boom!
With Jason Ross.
No, he didn't! Yes, he did!
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross on Sactown Sports.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is our number 4.
Only one to go.
So working with those math skills. Stay with me here. As you heard, it's Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. I'm CG in from Fresno, KMJ Radio. Delighted to be here. 4th time sitting in up here. It's always fun to come up to. Love to come up to Sacramento. I think Sacramento, and I've said this down in Fresno. I think Sacramento is by people outside of here is an underappreciated city. And boy, is this just the change that I've seen here back in many years ago when I was in college in Southern California, just coming up here now, just looks so different. It looks, I mean, and all for the better. And I know, just like it is in any city, I know hardened, what do we say, Sacramentans?
Sacramentans.
Okay. It's Sacramentan, just that word. It sounds like, oh God, he's got Sacramentan. It sounds like that.
It's a much cooler way to say it.
Yeah. But it's so different, and I know hardened Sacramentans would probably say, "Oh, I don't know." Every place I've lived, I always run into people that just they hate where they live. And when I was living in Fargo, people always just whine about the weather and just terrible, this and that. And I just say, you know what? There's 2 interstates that run through here, and they actually leave the city too. You can get in your car and you can leave. You can leave and never come back if you don't like it.
Yeah, anywhere.
Yeah. So, talking a little Niners, Seahawks, big game tomorrow, Levi Stadium. Winner gets the number 1 seed. Niners lose. They could go down as far 5, 6. They go down to 6, can they not? Depending on how everything shakes out.
Yes. If the Niners lose and the Rams beat the Cardinals, although I think they're going to sit a bunch of people, then the Niners would be 6. If the Seahawks lose, they would be 5. They can't go to 6.
The question I had going into this game, and to some it might sound a bit frivolous, but I'm being quite serious about it, is you want that number 1 seed if you can get it. It's not every year that you, even when you're a really good team, you have a legitimate shot at getting a number 1 seed, getting a bye, and it's not like the kind of bye that we're talking about in college football. This time of year, professionals, you need a little extra time to rest, for bruises to heal, for sprains to heal, just a little bit of rest and recovery. But I wonder sometimes if the desire to get the number 1 seed, in the case of a Kyle Shanahan, who was as good a coach as there has been, in my view, in the NFL in the last 15, 20 years, because he's a master of details. He's calculated, both when he takes risks and when he chooses not to. Obviously, brilliant offensive mind. But does it ever enter his mind that, well, we've got the number 1 seed in front of us if we beat the Seahawks, but we've got these 2 or 3 or 4 players that are 50-50 right now. They could really use a little rest, not playing in this game on Saturday, because even if we start our playoff run next week, even if we have to go on the road, they're going to be that much more healthy. We're going to be that much better as a team. And it seems like it becomes potentially, and Kyle Shanahan may not be thinking about this at all, but it seems to me potentially, that 6 of one, half dozen of the other, of you really want to get that number 1 seed at what cost? At what cost?
Yeah, and
you see the point that I'm making here?
I do, and Shanahan talked about this is in their mind essentially a playoff game. It's a game theory situation. You're weighing the value of playing players now for the potential to get a week off and home field advantage versus the week off now, but you have to play a longer playoff game. I mean, this is a calculation that teams all over the league are doing. The Chargers could jump to as high as 5, and they decided early in the week, nope, we're sitting everybody. We don't care if we're 5, 6, or 7. We will sit everybody. The Rams still, the Rams is different because they will know going into Sunday whether or not they have a chance to move up or not based on the result of this Seahawks-Niners game. But they've already made the call, regardless of what happens, we're going to sit at least a certain number of players, even if we have a chance to move up to the 5 seed.
Right, and again, if I'm a dyed-in-the-wool 49ers fan, I'm probably thinking I want everybody playing. I want to get this number 1 seed. I want a week off, and we'll worry about getting healthy over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's what we'll do.
And we're going to win Kyle Shanahan a Coach of the Year.
That's right. I do want to talk about that, by the way. Coach of the Year.
We had a good conversation about it earlier this week, so I'd love to hear your perspective.
I think I heard some of that as well. One of the key points in this game, I think it's very easy to lean into quarterback versus quarterback, but I also think the Niners' offensive line is going to have to do some serious work tomorrow because that defensive front for Seattle can get after it. I mean, they can get after it, and you don't want to see Brock Purdy getting knocked out of this game. Not that he doesn't have a capable backup. Obviously, he does. But I think similar to what you said that you believe the Niners need the number 1 seed to get to the Super Bowl. I believe it can't be Mac Jones. It's got to be Brock Purdy to get them to the Super Bowl. I don't think Mac does it.
Yeah, I think that is also a fair assessment. I just look at it as in this new, well, I guess it's not that new anymore, but in the setup where only the 1 seeds get a bye in the NFL and you get home field advantage.
Correct.
And particularly this year where there are so many good teams but no great team, you feel like, in the NFC. Mm-hmm. I feel like that 1 seed is a hugely important thing for the 49ers to get, and for the Seahawks too, although the Seahawks will be the beneficiaries of, if they lose, they will be guaranteed the 5 seed, and you get to play either Carolina or Tampa, 2 teams that we suspect the Seahawks will probably be at least like a touchdown favorite against come the playoffs.
Interesting. Just took a look here at it because I wanted to double check this. Unless I'm looking at it wrong, and I don't think I am, the Seahawks are the only 1-loss team on the road this year in the entire NFL.
I believe that is true, yes.
And so, I mean, make of that what you will. What level of importance do you want to put on particular numbers? I think that's a big one, that they can go into places and win games, and it doesn't really matter where they are. They've been consistent across the board. But I do think, I'm looking at some numbers. It's really remarkable how even these teams are offensively. The biggest differentiation between these 2 teams that I see comes in defensive INTs and defensive sacks. There is a wide gap between the Seahawks and the 49ers.
Yeah, and look, this has kind of been my thought with the Seahawks all year. I would not have had the gall to do what they did, where they moved on from their quarterback who was beloved, their future Hall of Fame head coach, an offensive coordinator that didn't have a bad season in Ryan Grubb, but it wasn't what they wanted it to look like. I don't know if I would have had the gall to do what they did, and it has worked out tremendously for them.
Yeah.
And John Schneider deserves a lot of credit, especially on defense. I mean, Mike McDonald has turned that team from defense was what was keeping Russell Wilson from going back to the Super Bowl to now they are built on their defense, and their defense is really good. So I feel good about Seattle's defense going into the matchup against the 49ers.
I would agree, and I don't. I don't know. When you get to Game 17, obviously the Seahawks lost at home to the Niners earlier this year. I don't put much stock in the idea that, well, they're going to be that much more motivated. I think they're going to be motivated to get the number one seed more than getting revenge, if you want to call it that, on the Niners. But let's segue into a quick Coach of the Year discussion. Refresh for everybody listening. Refresh who the names that you were mentioning
for the Coach of the Year.
Yes.
The current favorite is Mike Vrabel in New England.
Mm-hmm.
Second is Kyle Shanahan. Third is Mike McDonald. And then you've got a few distant guys on the odds. I think Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, Sean Payton, I think are all like plus 2,000 odds or something like that. But those are the names that are in contention.
All right, look, let's just get right to this. I know this is going to sound like the homer play, but how in the hell can Ben Johnson be a distant, whatever? He has jumped in to a miserable franchise with awful ownership and a litany of clown moves from coaches, general managers, directors of players' personnel. Virginia McCaskey, God rest her soul, lovely woman, awful owner. No two ways about it. Ben Johnson came in and took a team that won 5 games last year. The Washington game, the Bears had the game wrapped up, and they've got a safety going and chatting with Commanders fans while the Hail Mary is successful, and that sent the Bears off to 10 losses in a row. So Ben Johnson comes in, and now the Chicago Bears, and boy, I can almost hear people in their cars right now driving and going, oh, he's playing the Bears card. Well, no, I'm playing the Ben Johnson card. He has turned a 5-12 team into an 11-5 team that may end up 12-5. This is a remarkable turnaround. He has done with Caleb Johnson what people didn't think was possible. This is a guy that they were calling generational. And then last year, all anybody talked about was who? Jaden Daniels. And rightfully so. Had a great year. Had injuries this year, hasn't had the same kind of year. Caleb Johnson. Caleb Williams, what the heck's wrong with me? That's, on my show, that's a $25 CG fine. I'm just saying, that goes right to Ronald McDonald House. That's a fine.
Won't hold you to it today.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that's an immediate fine. Your boss, Jose, would be like, right now, he's saying, that's a fine. That's a $25 fine. For those of you tuning in just now, where have you been? Jose here at Station was my producer for a long time down in Fresno. Anyway, I digress. Ben Johnson, I think, has done as fine a job as any coach in this league and better. The only guy that, listen, Kyle Shanahan's been tremendous. And obviously, you could say they've done a turnaround as well. The Niners were, 6-11 last year?
Yes.
So a tremendous turnaround. But I would say that the reason I would give my vote to Ben Johnson is because of how utterly dysfunctional this organization, this team was, far more than the 49ers, in my not so objective view.
See, and
I'm waiting for your case now.
What you're highlighting, though, is my problem with the entire Coach of the Year award in general, which is the idea that you're not allowed to win Coach of the Year unless you work for a decrepit organization or are playing with a decrepit roster.
Let me stop you right there and say I agree with that. Because a lot of times, let's say you see a team go 15-2, like the Lions did last year, and let's just say this year the Lions went out to they're not going to make the playoffs, but the Lions went off to a 14-3 year. And people would immediately be saying, well, of course, Dan Campbell, he has a great team over there. They're 14-3. He should get that. I agree with you. He should get that kind of attention for that award. So in that sense, I agree with that.
Yes, I would get behind that because here's where I'm stuck on it, and we had this conversation a little bit on Wednesday, is the NFL has decided you cannot win Coach of the Year unless you have a poor roster or perceived to be a poor roster.
You need a beautiful narrative.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what you need.
Or you work for a terrible organization, because you were just giving your case for Ben Johnson. You were like, he took this decrepit organization that had been bad for years and immediately turned him around into a division champion and a playoff team, and I could have taken that exact 2 minutes and plugged in Liam Cohen's name, and it would have been the exact same conversation for Coach of the Year.
More or less.
But again, those guys get it because that's stereotypically who wins Coach of the Year.
Right.
It is Brian Daboll has a Coach of the Year. Matt Nagy has a Coach of the Year from the last time the Bears were in the playoffs. Kevin Stefanski has 2 Coach of the Years because they were just like, you take the Browns to the playoffs, you must be a wizard.
What was it, 3 years ago or 4 years ago that Vrabel won with Tennessee?
Yes.
So he will probably lose votes just for that reason.
Exactly.
And that's where I agree with you that those numbers, that doesn't make sense. You shouldn't penalize a guy because he won it 3 or 4 years ago.
Or, in my mind, penalize a roster for being good, right? When the 49ers went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, Kyle Shanahan probably should have been in the running for Coach of the Year over Kevin Stefanski, who won it with an 11-win Browns team that immediately lost in the playoffs. But he got penalized, in essence, for having this great roster, despite the fact that Brock Purdy, the 7th-round pick, looked like an MVP, and McCaffrey was Offensive Player of the Year. And these are things that we did not see before this. But again, you essentially get punished for having a good roster. And so Shanahan might get it this year because all the injuries and some free agent departures make this Niner team be perceived as a not as good roster.
And am I disrespecting Mike McDonald because I'm not even putting him in my top 3? Right? I mean, they've had a great year. He's done a tremendous job with this team. When you look at the influx of what's going on with their roster, the front office, and so on, he's done a fantastic job.
But again, he's probably, and again, Vrabel's the same thing, and maybe Vrabel gets the nod because the Patriots were 3-14 last year, or 4-13. But all of those coaches have a case. The Shanahan one, I guess my argument is, if this is the way he has to get it, I think Kyle Shanahan deserves to win a Coach of the Year at some point in the 10-year job he's done with the 49ers. It's weird that Belichick only won it 3 times, or Andy Reid still has never won it in his time in Kansas City. There are weird things about the Coach of the Year, and if this is the way you have to get it for Kyle Shanahan should have a Coach of the Year. It's just weird that this is how he has to do it in order to win it.
I've joked on my show that one of the reasons why Belichick didn't win it more is because people voting for it just hated him. I mean, if you've ever been in a presser with him, it's just, I do a thing on my show called Awkward Press Conference Moments, and I could have alternated between him and Nick Saban every week. Awkward has a broad definition for me. It's basically that moment when they don't like the question, so they feel like they need to insult the reporter, or, they start. I love when Nick Saban would pound on the lectern, right? Pound on it with the Dasani bottle and the Coke bottle. Of course, they don't move because they're basically glued to it.
Can't turn the label.
Sponsored by.
Yeah. Shanahan's also good for one of those every now and again, too. But his is more like the passive-aggressive, I'll just give a one-word answer.
His, when I've seen him annoyed, it's more like a guy that can't find the right book in Barnes & Noble. I mean, it just, he just seems like he's just...
That's a great comparison.
Well, because he says, "Excuse me, I'm looking for my daughter. Does he have kids?
I don't know.
I don't know either. We'll just say for his brother, whatever. I'm looking for Pride and Prejudice, and I can't find it. And is it in the wrong spot? How can you not have Pride and Prejudice? That seems as annoyed as he would get.
Internet says he has 3 kids.
3 kids. Okay, so he probably buys them all the books they need. But he doesn't see that he's at the food counter in the bookstore, and they're out of cheesecake, and he gets upset at that, and how upset do you get with that? All right, so does Mike Vrabel, because he's gone 4-13 to 13-3, does that should they just write his name on the trophy right now?
I don't know if that's the way it's going to go, but I think it's a pretty strong case. But again, I don't need Vrabel to win the Coach of the Year every 4 or 5 years to acknowledge that we should probably think of him the same way that we think of the Mike Tomlins and the Andy Reids and the John Harbaughs, that Vrabel is this really, really good coach. But again, it's why the Coach of the Year, it's more an issue with the award itself than it is the actual merits of it. But if Vrabel gets it, I won't have complaints.
Yeah, because I brought in a list, and I'm looking at my notes here, and of course I can't find it. When I need something, it's like if you walk around your house and you're holding your keys, your car keys in your hand, and you're asking everybody in the house, where are my car keys? Here it is. And you're holding them the entire time. See, right here. I've got it in my hand. I'm just looking at the AP Coach of the Year awards, and I need to agree or disagree with some of these winners. All right? Since you were just throwing this out, I'm just Kevin O'Connell.
I don't have an argument against that one. Maybe it should have been Dan Campbell, but yes.
Okay. 23, Stefanski.
Yeah, shouldn't have won it.
Okay. 22, Dable.
Definitely shouldn't have won it.
21, Vrabel.
That one's fine.
All right. How about 20, Stefanski, and 20?
I guess I'm trying to remember who was good that year, but Andy Reid should have won one of those. I'll say that.
All right. I'm with you there. I'm going to give you 2 more. 2019, John Harbaugh.
That was good. That was the year they went like 14-2.
And then, be very careful how you answer this. 2018, Matt Nagy.
See, here's the thing.
I don't think he should have won it.
I probably not.
I don't think he should have won it. I'll be honest with you.
You, a Bears fan.
Yes.
Me, a Kansas City Chiefs fan. We both have this like shared. It's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger meme with the hand clasp.
That's right.
Dislike for Matt Nagy.
Yeah, because I didn't like when he came there. I thought. My first thought was, does he have pictures on somebody? Because I didn't see that. But before we close out this segment, we should talk about your Chiefs real briefly. Has the fall from grace been as hard as it seems? Because I don't know. I did not see this coming. First of all, nobody wanted to see Patrick Mahomes get injured like that. Nobody wants to wish injuries on anybody. But did you see this coming? Because I sure didn't. I mean, I didn't think they were going to be as dominant as they had been in previous years, but I heard a couple of writers who I respect before the season started say they're not making the playoffs this year, and I'm curious as to kind of why they thought that.
I think part of it is the injuries, and part of it is... Sure. It's a lot on the body to keep playing deep into the playoffs. I mean, we see it every year. How many times does a team go to the Super Bowl and the next year around like week 12 they just physically fall apart?
We see it in the NBA.
See it in the NBA.
Guys go in the end of June and then they're back in training camp in a couple of months.
Yeah, and then you have the Eagles after they went to the Super Bowl had that year where they were 10-1 and then completely fell apart. The Niners last year went to 3 straight NFC Championship games. Physically completely fell apart. This just tends to happen in the NFL as part of it, but also they got kind of old. That's the other thing that happened with the Chiefs. Their best players are all in their 30s now, including Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's just one of those things like teams have their run. It's exciting, but they're not going to be there forever.
Well, okay. Here, my thought is that they're kind of like where the Patriots were in 2009, where it's like your first 8 years, just as good, I would argue better than the Patriots' first 8 years. But now you have to find your Gronk. You have to find your Donta Hightower. You have to find whatever the next generation of stars are going to be.
Next year, Travis Kelce, is he a Chief or not?
I go no.
I'm going no as well.
It seems like they did the whole goodbye thing. I think he's about done.
All right. Coming up next, we have What's on Deck, brought to you by Trex Decking and Railing. This is the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. I'm CG in for the boys on Sactown Sports 1140.
Download the Sactown Sports app.
Sacramento sports in your pocket. This is Sactown Sports 1140.
The Sactown Sports 49ers report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. Niners win a huge game on Sunday night versus Chicago, 42-38. Brock Purdy was outstanding. He accounted for 5 touchdowns, throwing for 300 yards and 3 TDs, rushed for 2 more, while Christian McCaffrey rushed for 181 yards from scrimmage and had a touchdown as well. Niners finished the regular season Saturday with Seattle, with the winner getting the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Catch the game this Saturday beginning at 4 right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting your focus be on what's most important, your family or your business. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N1484.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-949-1441. That's 800-949-1441.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is going to be fun.
It's time for What's on Deck, brought to you by Trex Decking and Railing.
I love theme segments. Love them. Nothing like them. It's Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. I'm CG from CamJ, Fresno, in for the boys. Hope they're enjoying their time off. They'll be back with you again on Monday, I believe. All right. Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass doing a superb job. It is What's on Deck, brought to you by Trex Decking and Railing. And we're just going to go through this, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. So Kings this weekend, of course, tonight, last night after the close, it was a closer loss than the final score indicated, but tonight they are in the Valley of the Sun. They're taking on the Phoenix Suns. That's at 6 p.m. And then Sunday they come home, take on the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that both of these games are winnable. Doesn't mean they're going to win them, but I do think both of these games are winnable if they can. This is a pretty pedestrian comment, but if they can play the way they played the first three quarters against the Celtics, there's no reason why they can't beat the Suns and the Bucks.
Yeah, the Suns, at the start of the year, I remember we were having conversations on this station about, hey, Phoenix and Sacramento are on the same trajectory. They have the same projected win totals. And the Suns have had an incredible year to their standards so far, and the Kings have had an abysmal year so far. So they've gone in opposite directions. Right. But at the start of the year, they were perceived to be similar teams.
Yeah, fair enough. So, by the way, as long as the Bucks are coming in here, has anybody thought, Giannis is now exploring his future. I loved when he re-signed with Milwaukee because I think, the NBA is better when you have great teams or good to great teams in Los Angeles with the Lakers. I don't mean the Clippers. Nobody cares. Except Billy Crystal. They have a cool arena, though. But the Lakers, the Celtics are good, with the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. But I think you desperately need franchises that are cities not quite as big, like Milwaukee, like Sacramento, and like a host of others, that you want to see big-time stars re-upping in those cities. Those are good communities, good cities. Playing in New York or Boston or Chicago or Los Angeles, that shouldn't be the end game for everybody. If I don't play in one of those cities, then my career is not going to be fulfilled. So would Giannis be a guy under the right circumstances, the right numbers, etc.? Would he be a guy that potentially, A, could find his way to Sacramento, B, I think fans would welcome him here?
If the Kings were in a better position, I would say it's possible.
Yeah,
but at this point, he would have to be willing to go to Sacramento, which at this point, I don't believe will happen.
And see, this goes back to my point about how an organization is run. Because players talk, just like people in our industry talk, TV stations, radio stations, and people talk about, where do you want to be? Who do you like to, where would you like to go? Who do you want to work for? And so on and so forth. And when I've talked to players off air, they do the same thing. They're always talking about, other teams that maybe they didn't consider to be a team that would be an organization that would be a good one to go to. And if I'm on the outside looking at Sacramento, which I am because I live down the road, I see this really nice city, a lot of great restaurants. You're close to skiing, you're close to the Bay Area, but you have stuff right here to keep you here. You've got the Kings, you've got a baseball team here that
for now,
that refuses to take the city's name, which is just ridiculous to me.
Well, if you come back in spring, we can definitely talk about that.
Yeah,
there's a lot to break down.
I just don't get that at all, and I'll never get that. But you have a great soccer franchise here. This is a good place to raise a family. I don't know, I see this as a place that NBA players should want to come. Fantastic arena, great crowds, tremendously loyal and supportive. No problems there. What's the downside?
I think part of it is reputation and part of it is how the organization is run.
Yes.
Dave, who obviously sits in the chair you sit in most of the time, makes a great point, which is almost every star that comes to Sacramento ends up loving Sacramento. You just have to force them to come. They either get drafted here or are forced there in a trade where they tried, Mitch Richmond, Chris Webber tried their very best to get out. And once they resign themselves, they actually do end up liking Sacramento quite a bit. So that's just been historically how it goes for the Kings. And part of that's organization and part of that's the nature of the market.
A house that's 6,000 square feet doesn't necessarily mean it's better than a house that's 3,000 square feet. It just doesn't mean the two don't correlate. Just because New York, the history with the Knicks and this and that, I look at the Knicks, they've won two world championships. That's it. They haven't won since 73. Mm-hmm. And yet players, want to go to New York because it's so electric and the money and the PR, the commercials, but it's not always what it's cracked up to be. All right, NFL. We've talked about Panthers and Bucks. It's for the NFC South. You didn't tell me what your thought was. I like the Panthers in this game. It's just a hunch, just a feeling. Having seen them play a couple of times this year, seen the Bucks as well a couple of times. I'm a little more impressed with the Panthers than I am the Bucks.
Yeah, I saw the Panthers are favored in this game, which at first I was like, oh, that's fascinating because at the start of the year, people were like, could Baker Mayfield win the MVP? This is the best Bucs team we've seen of all the group. And it's just completely fallen off.
Yeah.
When we talked about our coaching segment during 4 Down Territory, Todd Bowles seems like he's done a great job. But he's calling out players publicly.
Todd always seems like he's in a bad mood, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. But it's weird. I don't know what to do with them going 1-6 in their last 7 games and completely falling apart when it looked like the NFC South was a lock. So, yeah, I guess my instinct says I should take Tampa, but everything is pointing towards Carolina's trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree with the way you framed that, but I just get it. Maybe I see different things in sports that some don't. I don't know. I see Todd Bowles, and every time I just expect him at the podium, wherever he's talking, even if it's after a win, I expect him to say, I had some bad eggs this morning. I just had some bad eggs, and it's been upsetting my stomach, and I'm ticked off about it. Somebody change the chef.
He dropped a lot of F-bombs in that.
Yes, you notice I stayed away from that because we want to stay FCC friendly here. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
Todd Bowles might have said different things, but
I think he did. I think he most likely did. Kind of things you hear on Times Square on New Year's Eve when somebody is having an issue next to you.
Todd Bowles would have a terrible time on the subway.
Todd Bowles would not be not be very kind on the subways at all. We also have Seahawks 49ers. We have detailed that for the number 1 seed. I like the 49ers in this game. That's going to be just a great football game. 5 p.m. start time. You haven't told me who you think's going to win that game.
I believe the Seahawks are going to win, but that's not a popular take to give.
That's okay. It's an honest take.
Yes, on these San Francisco airwaves. Yeah. I think the Seahawks are going to win this game.
It's like I tell folks down in Fresno when I would be all critical about Fresno State. And, oh, my gosh, people come out of the woodworks. Oh, CG, you're not a Dogs fan. It's like, well, I'm not. I want them to win. I'm covering their games, but I'm not going to lose sleep if they lose. Just not.
Well, as someone who went to sleep at halftime of the Kings game last night, I can say I guess I'm in the same camp.
Well, that was the Kings game. Okay, then okay. I still had this vision of you, on the couch with the roommates with Stranger Things, but that's another.
Yes, that was the night before.
That was the night before.
No Kings game, fortunately.
Okay, Ravens and Steelers for the AFC North title. Going to be a really good game. Do we know what the weather report is in Steel City? I mean, it's going to be cold, obviously. Are we looking for snow there at all? I'm not sure. I know that
we have 28 degrees cloudy, but no 20% chance of precipitation.
Okay. It's interesting when you're in cold weather cities, and most meteorologists will tell you this. It's an interesting phenomenon that, like I know when I was in Fargo, when I was in Minneapolis, when it's overcast, there's actually a better chance of it staying just a couple of degrees warmer because whatever warmth is coming from the ground, from the soil, from buildings, it doesn't escape because of the overcast layer. But when it's clear skies, it tends to be a little bit colder. This meteorology report sponsored by CG and Kyle.
The meteorologist. See, we learned something today.
Listen, we have a phrase on my program, #full-service. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to incorporate that into the program.
If you take one thing away from CG's time here in Sacramento,
that's right.
Just know
that when you go to a cold weather area, overcast means it might be a couple of degrees warmer. I don't mean it's going to be like South Beach, but it's going to be a couple of degrees warmer. And then we have some football games. The Liberty Bowl. Boy, this sounds like a. Boy, you don't want to be far from the TV for this one. Navy and Cincinnati. Sorsby on Cincinnati, their quarterback, of course, he is entered the transfer portal. I don't believe he's going to be playing in this game.
I would assume not. If you've gone in the portal open today, there's still bowl games going on, but the portal's open.
Who do you like, Navy and Cincinnati? Who do you like in this game? Liberty Bowl, which is it's always cold and a little bit bitter in Memphis. It's not a great stadium. They're trying to renovate the place, but not a great place to see a college football game. Who do you like?
Well, my uncle went to Navy, so I am going to go with Navy.
There you go. All right, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Is there anything better than watching a coach get dumped on with a bucket or a giant trash bin of mayonnaise? You have to get that sandblasted off of you. Wake Forest and Mississippi State. I'm hoping that the Mississippi State fans don't bring their cowbells, because when you hear this, 50,000 fans all game long. It's really this is your thing?
Can get quite. Well, I shouldn't say that because Sacramento still does. I still love when they did it in Bob Meyer's ear, like he was sitting there for the playoff game and someone did it right in his ear.
I like that. I don't want to be. I've sat in Mississippi State Stadium in Starkville, or as they like to call it down there, Stark Vegas. And because it's about as far from Vegas as you can imagine, literally and figuratively. But when you've got 55,000 fans with cowbells for 3.5 hours, you have the effects of that for 3 days.
Yeah, I can imagine that is not fun. In terms of this game,
I like Mississippi State in this game.
I'm going to go with, I'm rooting for whichever coach would be funniest to get dunked in mayo. I don't think Wake Forest or Mississippi State is providing great comedy. I wanted Belichick to be in this game so bad.
How wonderful would that be? Coach Belichick, you're going to have to get the mayo bath now? Oh, what are you talking about? You have to sit right there. I'm not doing any of that.
Well, you could let his son do it.
Or let Jordan.
Or Jordan.
Just let Jordan get covered with mayo. All right. And finally, the Holiday Bowl. This should actually be a decent game. Holiday Bowl, the Arizona Wildcats taking on SMU from the Highland Park area of Dallas. I like SMU in this game. I think SMU's got a little bit too much offense for Arizona's defense. How do you see it?
Well, as a native San Diegan, I say it's going to be a great bowl game either way. In a great city and a great town.
Now, are they playing this in Snapdragon Stadium at San Diego State's campus?
I believe so. It's also not San Diego State's campus, but it is.
It's not on the campus. I've been to the stadium. It's a beautiful stadium.
Yes. You have to take a train to get there.
Yes, you do.
But, yes, it is at Snapdragon.
Well, San Diego State's students are a little bit bitter because they don't have the campus that UC San Diego has.
Oh, that is true. You might be a little biased.
I might be a little biased because my daughter goes to UCSD, but that's another story. Yeah, but all right, so you're going the Switzerland route. It's going to be a fine game.
Well, no, I'm picking Arizona.
Oh, you are picking Arizona.
I will pick Arizona, but I also don't know who's opted out of the game, so that makes it tough.
It's fun to talk to Arizona and Arizona State fans. I have friends that graduated from both schools, and they're both bitter about the other school, thinking that the other school gets too much publicity. It's like, you know what? You're both schools that nobody really cares about. So, I don't know what to tell you.
Or it's not that deep. Like, we'll pay attention if you get to the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not thinking about you as much as you think we are.
Wildcats and Sun Devils, okay, that's whatever. All right, coming up, we're doing celebrity birthdays. And who am I going up against?
That is producer Anthony.
Producer Anthony, I see. Hello, producer Anthony. Good to see you. I'm noticing, I felt like I saw you back there kind of, going over some facts and figures and some numbers in preparation for the segment.
I know every single birthday that there is now. I've actually looked them all up.
Then I'm out. I'm done. Thanks for playing. And coming up next, I am ready for this. All right, this is Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Guys, if your energy is low, your strength isn't what it used to be, or your drive feels off, it's not just getting older. For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, you can start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation so you get real answers about your testosterone levels and overall health. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. This isn't guesswork or one-size-fits-all treatment. Revive specializes in personalized, closely monitored testosterone care designed to help men feel stronger, sharper, and more like themselves again. With over 120,000 patients treated since 2011, Revive Men's Health is trusted for results, not hype. If you've been putting this off, now is the time to act. Claim your free T-check and consultation and see if you qualify for 25% off TRT. This month only. Call 916-619-3000. That's 916-619-3000. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Everybody loves the season of giving, but now the season of paying for it is upon us. That not-so-wonderful time of the year when millions of Americans open their credit card statements, stare in horror at the balance, and resolve then and there to find new ways to save money. If you're among those Americans, why not start by cutting your wireless bill in half right now with Pure Talk's Saver Plan? It's easy. You'll get unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigs of high-speed data on a super-fast, nationwide 5G network for just $20 a month. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Ho, ho, ho! And if you're active or former military or a first responder, you'll save an additional 20% every single month. That's pound 250. Say Mike Rowe for the gift that keeps on saving from America's wireless company, Pure Talk.
The holiday rush continues at your California Ford dealers. The Ford year-end sell-a-thon is on. Now through January 2nd, get our best offers across the most popular Ford trucks and SUVs. From America's best-selling Ford F-Series trucks for 48 years, the legendary F-150 and Super Duty, to the Bronco family of SUVs for those who don't wait for adventure to begin. Plus, all-electric standouts like the Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning. And explore and escape, the perfect balance of comfort, capability, and everyday versatility. Get ready to power through whatever the season brings in a Ford. But don't wait. These year-end sell-a-thon savings won't last. The clock's ticking. The lots are moving. And these are the season's biggest savings on an incredible selection of Ford vehicles. Rush in before the sell-a-thon and the savings are over January 2nd. Get to your California Ford dealers today. Claim based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year industry reported total.
It's time for the news of the day.
The latest headlines, the biggest stories, hard-hitting analysis.
Yeah, this is none of those things.
And now,
here's Carmichael Dave and Jason Ross.
So, I was told that for the celebrity birthday segment, a celebrity would be in here. And then I was told I was the celebrity, which immediately tells me, wow, I guess they couldn't find anybody, so they found me.
It's January 2nd. It's a holiday.
It's a holiday. Everybody's busy. I can tell you, I'm going to pull the curtain on this. He went through 31, he being Kyle, 31 different individuals from the Sacramento area. He covered Vail, Aspen, Seattle, all over the place. Nobody was available. And now there's me. And I get to go up with another legendary producer, Mr. Anthony, Sir Anthony.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Yes. Going to be you versus Anthony. Just full disclosure, Herky the Hornet had a chance to defend his title and he declined. So
see, I feel like I had something to do with that. Now I feel badly about that. I don't want to upset Herky.
Herky, who is our Celebrity Pick 6 champion, I believe, so far this year.
And I heard Herky has a temper.
He might. We don't know.
All right.
But
Not quite as bad as Todd Bowles, but all right.
Yeah. Maybe we invite Gunrock next time. Maybe he'll be better.
I think that's a great idea. All right. I'm ready for however this rolls out. I think I've learned the rules.
Well, it is time for our celebrity birthdays, which are brought to you by Crumble Cookies.
Birthdays are to be spent with family and friends, and nothing brings family and friends together better than Crumble Cookies. I fully agree with that.
That sentiment,
yes.
No disagreement.
Give me a Crumble cookie anytime, anywhere. They are delicious.
We can debate whether CG is a celebrity or not, but
well, I don't think there's even no debate about that, for heaven's sakes.
You can't debate the Crumble Cookies.
Yes, Crumbles are the best. They are great.
Crumble Cookies, number 1.
Yes.
All right. We got birthdays from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because it's a long weekend. We'll start off. Happy birthday to former pitcher David Cone.
Okay, so I need to guess his age.
Yes, you're guessing his age against Anthony, who is...
Anthony's looking him up on the computer as I speak.
Yeah, I have everything up right here.
Troubling over here. David Cone, I'm going to say David Cone is 52.
I'm going to go older. I want to say like 59.
Anthony is closest. Happy 63rd birthday.
Wow.
To David Cone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I was only off by 11 years. My gosh.
Yeah.
All right.
Good start.
All right. Yeah, well, maybe.
Happy birthday to actor Cuba Gooding Jr.
All right. I'm going to say Cuba Gooding Jr. is 42.
I think he's older again. I'm going to go 55.
Anthony is again closer, 58.
I feel like the whole thing is rigged. just the whole thing.
I'll turn the monitor off.
Because I saw somebody run in with a piece of paper that they gave to Anthony. I'm a little troubled by that as well.
In fairness, I did walk in to sing your praises and talk about the segment. I did leave the paper with the birthdays up on the counter here.
I read it all.
I'm down 2-0 right now. This is not going well at all.
All right. Well, maybe let's go back to sports.
Okay, wait. 58. Oh, I have to wait. Okay, never mind. All right.
That is Cuba Gooding Jr.
Okay.
Happy birthday to Dallas Goedert.
Okay. Dallas Goedert. I'm going to say, I should know this too. I'm going to say he is 28.
I'm going to go 30.
Anthony is again closer. Happy 31st birthday to Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert.
And I saw him play in college, for heaven's sakes.
All right. Let's see if either of you know this one. Happy birthday to musician Bryson Tiller.
Bryson Tiller, of course.
I do know who he is.
Of course you do.
Maybe that's a hint for you that maybe us Gen Z people know who he is.
I'm going to say he's 37.
I think he's 28.
CG is closer, 33 for Bryson Tiller.
Wow, I'm on the board finally. I can hear the crowd cheering. It's almost like like a Bronx cheer. Like he's like, yeah, about time, old man.
Somewhere Alan Stiles is yelling at me because that's his favorite artist.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
All right.
Big Bryson Tiller fan.
Okay. I'm gonna look Bryson Tiller on my drive home. All right.
All right. Let's go to Saturday now. Happy birthday tomorrow to Cheryl Miller.
Cheryl Miller, former USC All-American.
Yes, sister of Reggie Miller.
Yes, indeed.
The better basketball player of the family.
Yes. I'm going to say she is 63.
I'm going to go 55.
CG is closest, 62 for Cheryl Miller. Pretty close.
Now, this time the cheer was not a Bronx cheer. It was like, oh, maybe this guy's got something.
A little comeback coming.
A little comeback.
All right. Happy birthday to former quarterback Jim Everett.
Jim Everett. Okay,
who fought Jim Rome that one time.
Yes, I dated a girl who went to his high school, which is neither here nor there.
It should give you a hint, Anthony.
Yeah. Yes. Jim Everett. I am going to say that Jimmy Everett is 59.
I'm going to go 62.
Anthony is closest, 63rd birthday.
Okay.
Technically, Jim Everett is 62 right now because he won't turn 63 till tomorrow.
I'll take it. Stop the count.
All right, that's pretty good, yeah.
All right. Happy birthday to Dan Harmon, writer, creator of Community, Rick and Morty.
Yes.
A bunch of shows.
Yep. I'm going to say he is 53.
I think that's really close. You might be right on that. I'm going to go 52.
We have a correct answer. And it goes to CG.
How about that?
53rd birthday.
All right.
For Dan Harmon.
I knew him better than Bryson Tiller.
Yes. Well, you got both of them right. You're skunking Anthony right now.
I'm down 4-3.
Yeah? Well, this is a fun one.
This is great, yeah.
So, two birthdays.
2 to go.
Two different, well,
two.
For Saturday. 2 at the same time, but it's fun.
Oh.
2 different ages. Happy birthday to Eli Manning and David Tyree.
Okay, so are they the same age?
They are the same. Well, they are not the same age, but same birthday.
Same birthday. So I have to guess the age for each.
Yes, of the famous Super Bowl catch, Manning to Tyree.
Yes.
Both born on the same day.
Yeah, absolutely nothing gets by me. All right, I'm going to say Eli is 43 and David Tyree is 41.
I am going to go 45 for Eli, and I'm going to go 39 for Tyree.
Okay, so on Eli, we have a correct answer, and it goes to Anthony, 45. On David Tyree, CG is closer, 46 for Mr. David Tyree.
Very nice.
Wow.
Very nice.
Let's go to Sunday now. Happy birthday to Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh.
I know who she is.
Oh, that's troubling. That's troubling. All right. What?
Sorry, she's an actress for Dune, Marvel.
I know.
Yes.
Now I know who that is. Okay, I'm going to say 32.
I think she's younger, 28.
Anthony's closer, 29. Happy birthday to Wemby, Victor Wembanyama.
Oh. Now he's going to get this right on the nose. I'm trying to remember when he came. I'll say he's 21.
I think that's right, but I'm just going to go 20 because he might be younger and surprise me.
CG is closer, 22nd birthday.
Oh, wow.
For Victor Wembanyama.
Right,
Happy birthday on Sunday to Derrick Henry, who will be playing for the Ravens season on his birthday.
He's going to stiff arm whoever brings the cake and throw him if he doesn't like the cake. Derrick Henry, I am going to say, is 36.
I think he's 34.
Anthony's closest, 32 for Derrick Henry.
Wow, okay.
Running back's younger than you think.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg, the environmentalist, right? Okay, from Denmark, is it? Denmark, Norway?
One of those countries.
Okay, Greta, I'm going to say she is 31.
Oh, she's like 20.
Oh, is she that young?
Yeah, she was really young.
I think she was a teenager when we first.
Oh, I thought she was a little bit older than that. Okay.
Anthony's closer, but only 22.
Okay.
22 for Greta Thunberg. Last but not least, Eric Weddle. Former NFL safety.
Yeah. I'm going to say he is 53.
I'll go 54.
Wrong decade. He is 41.
that didn't go well.
So that was really bad.
Well, that's the last one I've got, so we're going to end on that stinker.
That means that was closer. All right. Brendan Nunez is in next for Alan Stiles, and Anthony is going to be in for Kyle, sitting in the big chair. Thanks to everybody here. Thank you, my friend. You laid everything out and made it really easy for me. I'm Christopher Gabriel, CG, in for Carmichael Dave, the Jason Ross Show. They'll be back with you Monday. Have yourselves a great day and a great new year.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball.